Good night, good night, good night, good night. It is a wonderful Friday night. It is September 22nd and it is 7:01. I'm 1 minute late and look how many persons are on. Tracy Barrow, good night, everyone. She says the first to be on and she was on at 6:44. Zashay here with hey, Zashay. Good night, everyone. He says we are here and waiting. Yes, we waited. CG, good night to all. Good night to all. Natasha says good night. Natasha was on at 6:51 along with CG. And we are early. We are early. We have a lot of business tonight. Lots of business to get through tonight. Tonight is going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be awesome. Yes. Wayne Dread, Meme, Heathcliff. Hey, Heathcliff. Good night, Nigel. Oh, good night, comrades. What a diabolical sight. Should we expect governance in Barbados? Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. Listen, we have to start to come up with some solutions now. Wayne Hoyt. Hey, Wayne. Good evening, everyone. Mark Clark. Hey. Good night, all of our our opposition. Power of the people. It's a power of the people. They are feeling the power of the people. And I tell you this, I know of a fact. Hi, Mystic Angel. I know of a fact that they are watching. They watch this program. We get the reports. In fact, some of them called Caswell even yesterday. Some of them right there in government, they call all the time. Call all the time to try to say, well, it's not really so, etc. So we know that they're listening. And when what were we saying? When the people stand up, guys, the powers fall down. When the people stand up, the powers fall down. And tonight we are standing up. The opposition is speaking tonight loud and clear. The people are the opposition in this country. So don't you ever let anybody say, oh, we don't really have any opposition. You let them know that the people are the opposition. And the people being the opposition, we are standing up. And when the people stand up, the powers do what? What do they do? Fall down. Do you actually believe that? Do you actually believe that? Do you really believe that when the people stand up, the powers fall down? Yeah? Do we believe that? Good night, Monique Ince. Sometimes people say, oh, this is just an exercise in futility. Nothing is going to come of it. That's what they try to tell us, right? Nothing is going to come of it. And we say absolutely not, because we see them responding already. Yeah, we see the response is happening. So, we're not believing that. We're not believing that. We're patriotic Barbadians. Yeah, where's my flag? Where's my flag? This is a Bajan flag, and this is why we come together, folks. Let's not forget it. It's all about this. It's all about Barbados. Yeah, patriotism, that feeling of love, devotion, and a sense of attachment to one's country. And nothing is wrong with that. Patriotism is healthy, and it's good to love your country. Right? This attachment can be any combination of different feelings for, things as language, right? The ethnic, cultural, political, or historical aspects of any country. Yes? Patriotism is closely connected to nationalism, whether civic nationalism, cultural nationalism, but we are Bajans and we are proud. Aren't we? Aren't we? Listen, and once again, I'm going to ask you to put in this time, and last time I asked you to put what you love most about Barbados, right? So this time I'm going to ask you to put what is it that you what is it that you're most proud of about Barbados? Okay? What are you most proud of about Barbados? Can you put that in the comment section, please? I know right now you might say, well, there's not much, but try to find something. Try to find something to be proud of. Yeah, we're gonna find something to be proud of. So I'm getting a little challenge here. All right, a little challenge. I hope you can still see me. I can't see myself. I can't see myself. I can't see my comments, and I can't see you. Yes, Kamar, say like and share. I just can't see. I can't see what I need to see at this time. I'm not seeing what I need to see at this time. Let me touch here and see if that is going to open up my page. Yes, I think I'm back to normal. I'm hoping. Can you see? Something is wrong with my screen here, guys. Something is wrong, but I'm not going to stop. Okay, so I'm having a little issue here, a little technical issue. A little technical issue here. So just hang on with me, bear with me. We're trying to figure it out. In the meantime, keep sharing, guys. Okay, Heather's saying that she can see me. I just can't see my the broadcast properly. Somebody says our country is a beautiful country. Yes, I'm seeing that, but how do I all right. So we're just having a little challenge, but we don't give up. We don't give up, guys. Keep writing. What is it that you love, that you're most proud of about Barbados? Okay, so my camera is off, but we are actually trying to fix something here right now. So keep writing, guys. What is it that you're most proud of about your country? And keep sharing. Yes. We are making sure that it happens for us tonight. So all right. So guys, we're the people. I see Monica Boxell says the people. Right? I can still see some things. So we're just trying to make it happen here tonight. Okay, Monica says she's most proud of the people. Is there anything else that we're proud of for in Barbados? We're being patriotic tonight. Hey. Okay, you can still hear me. Okay. So you can hear me. Listen, we winning tonight, you know. We winning tonight. Any prayer warriors out there? We're winning tonight. Anybody knows that we're winning? All right. So we are in business. We're getting there. I see Clyde Yvonne has joined. Yes, 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 yes. I'm proud of the beauty of the island and the people. Yeah, we're proud of the island and the people. All right. Okay, all right. I think we're back in business. You know, but you know, we don't let anything stop us. Yes, that we have, Debbie Griffith says that we had opportunities of a very good educational base. Yes, that's something to be proud of. Yeah. Says Monica In says, I'm proud of the beauty of the island and the people. Jack Sobers. Hi, good night, Jack Sobers. Hi, Trevor Seeley. Oh, wonderful, 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 wonderful. We are all here. We are all here. All right. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, you know, guys, what I want to say to us is that as we are being patriotic, we're going to keep moving. We keep, keep doing what we do. And it's important that we stay united. You know, unity is so important. Unity is not uniformity. Unity is not uniformity. Okay? It doesn't mean that because we're united, we're all going to speak the same way. We're going to think the same things. You know, we're going to do everything the same. We're going to dress alike. We're going, that. No, it's not. That's not unity. Unity is having one clear focus, and we are going in that. Everybody, we're working and we're moving in that direction. Because when look at my screen, it says when the people stand up. Says when the people stand up, but it's the people standing up together. It's not some people standing up at some time and some people are sitting down. But when the people rise up, when the people stand up together, right? We're different people, but we're doing one thing together. The one thing we're doing together is the standing up, right? We're standing up together. And it's when we stand up together that the powers fall down. And we do that together. We do that whether it is we're in Barbados or we're outside of Barbados. So we want to celebrate those in the diaspora, right? There's a little man, he's 80 years old. Well, he was 80 years old about 2 years ago. So I think he's about 82 now, right? And I mean, I can't tell you, he's such an activist for Barbados. He lives in New York, and he doesn't just, it's not a thing where his name is Sunshine Leon. That's his social media name. And some of you know him, and he's such a powerful activist for Barbados. He's patriotic. I don't know if he's listening tonight, but Sunshine is one of the most patriotic Bajans that I know. And he lives in Brooklyn, and he sends his donations. And not only that, but he rallies others. He rallies others to give to the projects that's happening in Barbados. And so tonight we just want to mention those like Sunshine Leon who are in the diaspora, who, they don't miss a beat. They give to the cause. And they support, and he puts out music. He creates music. Anybody ever seen Sunshine Leon on Facebook? He's one patriotic Barbadian, I tell you. And he lives in Brooklyn. He doesn't live here, but he has his daughter here, grandchildren here, he has family here, and he cares about Barbados. And so those in the diaspora, they care about Barbados just as much as the ones who are here. And we're going to do it together. Unity is strength, as Monica says. Unity is strength. We're not going to fight against each other. We're from different backgrounds, different walks of life. We're not uniformed in our experiences. You know, we're not uniform. Some black, some white, some male, women, man, woman, boy, girl. You know, I mean, all different walks of life. Some Christians, some Hindus, some Muslims, some Rastafari, some atheists. We were having a march and we said, let us pray. And one of our brothers stepped aside and said, I'm not praying, I'm an atheist. And guess what? We welcome him and we walk down the road together. We walk down the road together, man. It's not, listen, we're not going to get distracted, you know. We will not get distracted. We can't afford to get distracted at this time. Let me march, man. No distractions. No distractions. We're going to march. Let's do this. We're the opposition and we're not going to pull ranks. We're not going to jostle each other. We're going to lock arms, man, and we're going to walk together. We're going to stand up together. We're not gonna jostle one another. We're not gonna fight and elbow each other, but we're gonna march together. Yeah, whether we're pink, we're blue, we're orange. They said Trump is orange. Oh Lord, that's terrible. But whatever color you are, we're gonna do it together. Yeah, it's Bajan we name it. Whether we live in Barbados or we live in New York or we live in Boston. You know, or we live in Japan. You know, you have Bajans in Japan, you know. Yeah, and you have Bajans in several parts of Africa. And they message at times and tell me, you know, keep up the good work. So this is all of we thing, man. So let me march, man. No distractions, right? When we speak together. The opposition, we speak together. We speak as one. We stand up together. We march together. We are one people. And listen, you know, some people are going to love when you have distractions. But listen, I told somebody today, I'm an eagle. I'm an eagle. I don't have any time to be focusing on anything down there. You know, I'm all the way up. You can't come on my altitude. Well, hey, I gone. Yeah. So I think that it's important that we continue. I think the general is ready. And we're excited to have you, Mr. Caswell Franklin. It's an honor to have you on here tonight.
Yes, good evening and thank you very much. You said you were an eagle. Let me just give you a Latin thing that sums up what you should always remember. It says, Aquila non capit moscas. Eagle does not catch flies. So when the flies come around, you ignore them. Right? Remember, Aquila non capit moscas. Eagle does not catch flies.
I tell you, you learn something new every time you come on here, right? So you hear that? Eagle don't catch flies. The eagle does not catch flies. So we know we march. No distractions. No distractions. We're not what distract. What would an eagle distract himself with flies? And you know, I see you do that, you know, Mr. Franklin, because they had you pinned out on the radio the other day, and you came on here, and nobody will tell. You came on here, and the first thing you started was not to complain about what they were doing. I watched, you know. You came on here talking about what the people are going through. And that's what we follow. That's why you're the general. And that's what we follow, folks. Yeah.
And the other thing that you were saying just now, you know, and somebody said unity is strength. But let me just tell you, unity workers, union is growing. So they're getting stronger. So you're right. Unity is strength. We're getting stronger every day. And the reason we're getting stronger is that people are being disillusioned with the others. You know, I bribe people that know say that they can come and join with me. I have a whole set of them came today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so because they're seeing that they're misrepresented. So unity growing.
Yeah. You know, I was asking people to say what they're proud of, because we're not here to bash Barbados. We want to see Barbados um, in its fullest potential. And Barbados is really, it's us, the people. And so Nigel Newton is saying, comrades, having experienced Barbados before independence and having the misfortune of witnessing the catastrophic fall into political chaos, I'm struggling to find something to be proud about. And I
Uh,
hope, yeah.
if I were not proud of Barbados and love Barbados, I won't be here now. Because those distractions, that fall, is not us, and we gotta fix it. We are not going to just let the politicians lead us down that garden path into their quagmire of nonsense and stupidity. We are too proud and of Barbadians to allow them to destroy us. That is why we are here. So I am proud to be a Barbadian. I don't know what you people thinking because we have an idiot government that stops us from being proud. I'd be even more proud if you got rid of them. But certainly that will not stop me from being a proud Barbadian. I've had opportunities to live and work elsewhere, and I refuse because I want to be here. I've been to Labour College in State. Apparently I excel. I don't know what it's meant, but and then they said they offered me a job. I said, well, if you have a Barbados office, I work there, but I work for you, but I got me in the Barbados office. Of course, they didn't have one, so I had to come back home. You know, I'm proud of this place, and I want you, Barbadians, to be proud of Barbados too. Don't look at the fall from grace that we are going through now. We are bigger than that, and you don't let that pull you down. Don't go down there with them. I remember Cameron Trudeau once said to he says, I can come down in the gutter with you, but I'm not staying down there.
Hmm.
So if they put us down in the gutter, we are not going to stay down there with them. And then we will know what to do the next time we have to go in those polling booths and do something for the sake of this country. Don't be so angry or and to say no, these people are doing nothing. I am voting them more because when you're voting them more, they're going. Because 59% of the electorate of Barbados did not vote in the last election.
Hmm.
59%. It was probably the lowest turnout ever in the history of Barbados. But what it did, it gave the government 30 seats again. Reason being that their people come out. They make sure they come out. Well, if
Hmm.
you're not their people, you will come out too. Because I'm not saying they wouldn't have won the election. I don't know. But they certainly wouldn't have won all 30 seats if Bidens were not so disillusioned.
Hmm.
And decided they're not going to vote. I hear people tell me they're never going to vote again. Me? I will vote again. Never asked me to vote, I vote twice. But there's no way I'm going to see an election come around unless I'm in traction in the hospital and can't get out. I'm going to vote.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
trust me when they tell you, this is our place, we got to protect it. It's like you're a host. And you have to protect your castle. This is our castle.
Yes.
You got to protect it. Don't allow them to. And there are a lot of things that are going on with Barbados that is bad. But I'll tell you something. Wherever you see the bad, a politician is there. Uh, yeah, wherever. Wherever you see things going wrong in Barbados, there's political interference in it. You complain about the courts,
Hmm.
politicians stack it with their friends as judges. You got school mill workers, keeping the the politicians make sure they get their people put in there. You got prison officers, the politicians get them there. Police hierarchy, the politicians put them there. It is everything that is wrong with this country has politics attached to it. We got to get out of that. I don't know how we're going to get out of it without your help. You have to come out and because you cannot simply say, look, man, I disillusioned, you know, and I ain't bothered with this no more. Because, yeah, if you're disillusioned and you're at 90 and can soon die and don't have any family left back that you got to help try to protect, well, so be it. But they got very many people like that. They got very many people like that. You got a brother, a sister, a mother, father, aunt, children, a cousin that you care about. And if you care about any of those people, you have to stand up against what is happening in this country. Look, trust me, and I will tell you, and I will tell you again, everything in this country that is going wrong has a politician tagging on it. High price, you're going to say high prices. Yeah, they got politicians with high prices. You want to know how come? There's a piece of legislation called the Miscellaneous Controls Act, where the politicians in Parliament or the minister responsible for consumer affairs can determine that your markup cannot be more than X dollars or X percent. And rather than do that, they say, oh, we're going to have a compact. And the merchants then say, we will have a compact. And they put the items that you have in the basket, things that people don't want, things that are not nutritious, they don't have, they're not healthy. And they say, oh, we have a compact. A lot of show, a lot of nonsense. They don't even have to go anywhere to even go and pass the bill. The bill is already, the act is already there. It's just they're not using it. How I know? One of my earliest jobs in the public service was at the price control division. In those days, a lot of people didn't know, but we had things like TVs, fridges, stoves, cars. With you couldn't charge more than 20% markup. And if you didn't want to sell them, if you don't want the 20% markup, then don't sell them. But we still had a lot of fridges, stoves, cars. As a matter of fact, we had to even restrict the amount of cars coming in because they didn't have enough foreign exchange to buy all everything that people wanted to buy. We had quotas. So they can do it. The politicians can do it if they want. They don't want because if you can charge 100% markup, some of that 100% goes towards political campaigns. It also goes to the vehicles that these politicians drive. Because remember, we have politicians driving both cars from a company in Barbados that sold cars and that kind of thing. Cars were never owned by the politicians, but they drove them every day. So you can see everything that you touch, everything. Buses. They just import 10 buses. Now, if they use all those buses in Barbados, and on 5 of them you got to walk onto the traffic again and got a left-hand drive. All kind of madness going on in this place. Politicians again. You know, wherever something is wrong. So we have to get them out of our day-to-day lives. They're not supposed to be there. And because we refuse to do that, we suffer. Now, if you like to suffer, well, that's your thing. I don't. And most people don't. And the way to make sure you don't suffer is to get rid of them. There was an escape from God's prison yesterday.
Yes, I want to hear your take on that.
I can't because I know the specifics and it is a national security issue.
Yes,
right?
okay.
Suffice it to say that politicians again are involved in this. I know you have one stupid politician talking about we're going to have an inquiry into the escape. He doesn't have, all he has to do is pick up the phone and call me. I will tell him how it went down. And it's all their fault.
So, because I know you were talking about some of the hiring practices at the prison, where you were saying, based on your knowledge, you're alleging that some of the very prison officers and who are hired to work in the prison, they have they have records, criminal records, etc. So you have been complaining about the hiring practices at the prison.
Yeah, politicians got involved in the hiring practices in the prison, and the wrong people ended up in prison working as prison officers. You know, again, there's certain things that, because of the position I hold, I cannot disclose, and I will not disclose what I consider to be national security issues. Yeah, people, mind you, they're salacious. They're very salacious. And I can tell you that if the minister does not know already, he does not want to know. And if he wants to make a pick up phone and call me, I will tell him. I can tell him who was accompanying the prison when he escaped. I can tell you how he escaped and why he escaped. And how it was so easy for him to get out of there.
You know, there are some people who are joining us for the first time. Good night to those who were joining us for the first time. But I want to say, I want to ask you if you could just talk to us again about the environment at the prison and the hiring practices. Go through that, because I think people are hearing it. Because this morning, when I heard that someone escaped from the prison, there was a prison break. I said to myself, "Oh Lord!" But this has to be that there, some of what you were talking to us about. I don't know the issues. I'm just here, figuring out. Wonder if, So can you explain just some of your concerns? We don't know if it contributed, but I think that if people understand the background and what happens at the prison, it will put some things into perspective. Can you do that?
We have a lot of prison officers who are disillusioned. And they lose this disillusion a lot because they don't want to put it higher than that. There were a number of vacancies at the prison a little while ago. There were 40 for people for promotion, and they asked people to apply. The authorities at the prison took only 40 names out of the whole batch and sent them down. Well, here is they call it the Ministry of Public Service, the people who do the recruiting. You have 40 vacancies and 40 applicants and 40 good reports on those people. You don't need interviews. But they were not, a lot of them were not good. They were awful. They were criminal. And then the people were appointed. You heard prison officer said, "What happened to my application?" Then you check with the Ministry of Public Service. We ain't got an application for you, but they put them in, A number of people, number of good people, because they were not highly favored. So you put people in there that you want in there because you can control them and they will do nasty things for you, because there is so much corruption in the prison that a lot of the people that are in prison should really be there, but as not officers. Trust me when I tell you. There's too much corruption in there. The place is, I refer to it as Dodd's brothel when it was in the Senate, and people try to say, no.
What you refer to it as? Dodd's what?
Dodd's brothel.
Brothel.
Yes.
Dodd's brothel. Oh Lord, I wanted to ask you why you are calling it that. Let me ask you, why are you calling it Dodd's brothel?
Because a lot of what goes on at brothels goes on in there, and nobody would do anything about it. We've had a female prisoner from Jamaica who got pregnant by a prison officer, and nothing happened.
Hold a minute.
Everybody in the government knows about that.
So hold a minute. So you had a female prisoner inside the prison who got pregnant by a prison officer, and nothing happened. Nothing happened about that.
Well, only thing happened is that she went back to Jamaica. when the sentence was finished. But everybody, and even at the political level, at the ministry level, they know about it.
So you're saying the prison itself need a cleanup? That we need a cleanup at the prison?
In more ways than one. The prison is not. It needs a cleanup in the kind of people you bring in there. It also needs a cleanup because the environment is dirty. The walls are not painted, and a lot of people get sick from the cement from the walls, all kinds of things. So it's more than one type of cleanup needed up there.
So there's some environmental issues, and then there's
a lot of environmental issues.
And how they do, the human resources in terms of how the hiring practices.
Discipline, you name it. I'll give you an example. And this is one that bothers me so much. They took a delegation of, or what do they call them, a troop or whatever, of prisoners to go and clean the female barrack. All right? Look, and then you're supposed to take them out when they finish the job. But one of the fellas ended up in a cupboard. And they went along and left him in there. So, if you are a prison officer, one thing prison officers must be able to do is count. When you move prisoners from one place to the next, you gotta count. You gotta count. Prison officers count. If they can't speak good English, they can count. But you got a group of 4 or 5 prisoners cleaning up a space, and that prison officer gonna count to 5. They left him in the cupboard, hiding in the cupboard. So an female officer came in and taken off her clothes, and when she got almost naked, he came out. He wants some. He didn't get by, but that girl has been traumatized for a long time, and the ministry refused to do anything about it.
You see, we're talking. It's all connected, I think the narrative here that I'm getting from you, Mr. Franklin, is a real. It's more than this. It's an abuse of workers. An abuse of our public workers.
I'm finished yet. That lady had to go see psychiatrists and all kinds of things. And what did one do? They want to get her out the prison, away from the job. But the guy who hid in his cupboard and come out to rape her got time off for good behavior. Yeah, I know your mouth open and you shocked. He got time off for good behavior and went home early because he was doing somebody's bidding.
What?
He got time off for good behavior. And
this is so hypocritical. These people are so.
For time off for good behavior, and that man was attempted to rape a female prison officer. So you see,
he went to clean. So you're alleging that they knew that he was left back in the cupboard.
Yes, they left him in there because they wanted to do something to that girl.
Oh my God.
Then we have another one that they have done nothing about. It is an offense to be associated with prisoners, or former prisoners, or their family if you're a prison officer.
Say that again, please. That is an offense to be.
If you leave prison. Yes. A prison officer is not supposed to be involved with you socially or anything like that. Or their family. When you're in prison, you can't even associate with the prisoner's family. When the prisoner is in prison, you cannot associate with his family. Any contact with the family, you will let them know. But it was reported by family or something, so you have to report it. Now, we had a case in prison, this is years going back. One young lady fell in love with a prisoner and they had a little business in there. She came out and got married. Married to the prisoner. Nobody did anything about it. That's an offense for which she could be dismissed. But she remained in there. The man working, the man got a child, eventually they got divorced and all kind of stuff. And then When I started my quest on behalf of the prison officers, I highlighted that. And I have a document written to the ministry from the former superintendent saying that, this case is old and she's leaving the island to go, and so they could drop the case because unless she go along in peace because she left me there, drop the case, but she left up to now.
This minister, this is Wilfred Abrams. This is under his ministry, right?
It is under his ministry.
It sounds like the same thing. Anybody listening, doesn't this sound like the nonsense and nastiness and wickedness that was happening at GIS? Can this man do anything right? Can Wilfred Abrams really do anything right? You remember, guys, when he came back and said how there was no abuse at the GIS, at the government industrial schools? You all remember that? And that is the same man that is over the Dodds prison. That's the same ministry. Is it Ministry of Home Affairs?
Ministry of Home Affairs.
Right. That the person is under. That same man. And look at all of the irregularities and that Mr. Franklin highlighting that's happening within the prison system.
When 3 young Christian men went to the doctors to be tested for COVID, and the doctor confined them to their homes, even the same minister was on radio and TV and appealing to them and send the police and all kind of looking for them when the men were home, and that was notified to the prison that they were placed in quarantine. And the minister to this day has never apologized for doing that to those men. One fellow, he has a sister overseas. She called crying, wondering what's going on with her brother. Because and you can't even come home now because it's lockdown. And she's hearing about this thing, and she heard brother up on all over Facebook and Instagram and all kind of nonsense. They did that because those 3 were 3 of the people who were standing up the prison of all the nastiness that was going on.
And they were victimizing them.
They had to be neutralized. You had to do something to them.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I told the minister, when they said they were going to when they come and now they said that they were home, because the police come home and not the men home. But yet still, you on radio and TV saying that these men are fugitives and not running away and all kinds of stuff. All of them were home as ordered by the chief medical officer.
I'm listening to you, Mr. Franklin, and I'm saying we are on here, about 300 of us, and we are hearing this tonight. What are we going to do about it? Some of us can write articles. Some of you know how to write articles. Some of you can write a letter, send an email to your MP and asking them, tell them you need them to clean up the prison. We talk about what the hiring practices, the environmental issues, discipline issues, right? Conflict of interest. All of these things that breed what? What does that breed? Corruption. And we will never be able to have a proper... So people, let me just say something to them, Mr. Franklin. I am asking you, as you are listening to this, we are patriotic Barbadians. We are standing up and we are taking a stance about proper governance of our country. And so we're going to write the Minister Abrams, Wilfred Abrams, who seemed to not be able to do anything right. Anything right. We're going to write him and ask him to look into these things. We hired them and we put them there. Don't just sit down and take it in tonight and do nothing about it. There's someone here saying that they visited their son yesterday during the power outage. The generator kicked in and out. Right? Trapped in a room with no proper ventilation.
Take down that, because I don't want people saying exactly that, because what happened there.
All right, just leave it. Leave it.
Get back another visit. Because that has something to do.
All right.
With the whole
thing.
Yeah.
So we won't say much about that, because national security, we want to. Yes, okay. But
Right?
somebody said, "Good evening, loyal, patriotic opposition, late for session, on the move." But what I want to say, the part of this I want to pick up is a loyal, patriotic opposition. The question is, I want you to use your creativity, use your skills. A lot of you are on here. You are managers. You might be an entrepreneur. You are, whatever it is. If you are selling coconuts on the road, you're an entrepreneur. Whatever it is your job is, let's come up with some solutions. How do we tackle this thing with the prisons? We are the opposition, right? Continue, and you think about it and put up the solutions. What are the solutions that you can come up with about tackling this issue, this environment that seems to breed corruption and violence and wickedness happening right there in the prison? Continue, Mr. Franklin.
The problem is that the people at the very top of the administration at the president need to go home. Not just the former superintendent, but his replacement. Because nothing will get better at the prison. And they brought up a soldier over from the defense force to assist, and he too is part of the problem. You need to get rid of those people and put decent people in place, because a lot of the people you have over the years at the prison believe the place belongs to them, treat prisoners and prison officers like animals. I can't tell you. There's so many things I would love to tell you, but I have to balance what I let out.
The things I told you about, security is important. National security.
Yeah, the things that I told you about don't have any national security implications, and they're the mild ones. They're the mild ones. So we need not another inquiry. We know the results. The inquiry was had, and the report from the panel is classified as secret or for national security implications. But no, there are things in there that don't require any security classifications. All it does need to do is to deal with bad behaviors in the prison. But they shut down everything. No, with that, these national security ones and publish these ones and bring charges against the people who is destroying the prison and using it for their own nastiness.
But something must be done. Andrea Critchlow, good night, Andrea. Great to have you. She says, we have seen how he handles things. It's really true, because he had to go back 3 times to get it right about the GIS. That man he just talks like he has hot potato in his mouth and bobbing his head like, I don't understand, like he don't have any sense. She says, we have seen how he handles things. So I agree with writing and expressing our concerns, but will he care? We need some kind of outside help, because these ministers won't do a thing to change anything. What kind of outside help, Andrea? What are you suggesting? Let's talk towards solution. This is our beautiful country. This is our beautiful country. Last night when I heard that a prisoner was on the loose, listen, I get up, I lock up my doors early. I live in St. Philip. I lock up fast, right? So that is important. Somebody here is asking, it's important that all of these areas are looked into. Caswell, is it the poor conditions of the prisons, and are the prisoners being treated less than human beings, or like prisoners in Nigeria? How are prisoners treated in Nigeria?
I don't know the treat prisoners in Nigeria, but I know they're not treating these ones well.
Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that.
There's one example.
If you can.
There's one example I can give you. Prisoners don't have their girlfriends with them. So a fellow might hold on to another a prisoner, and think that he's a girlfriend, And when the prisoner complains that something happened, so what? They refuse to do anything
So
about
you're
it.
saying prisoners within the prison system are being raped. You're alleging that prisoners within the prison system that they're being raped, and your allegation is that the prison, when they report it, nothing is being done about it.
Nothing.
How hypocritical is that? And we on the outside, we're talking about, we join with America, the Me Too movement. We talk about, if you have any abuse and how we're so intolerant with any kind of abuse. But then somebody can be raped inside of the prison and it's nothing, right? It's a big joke for us, or a big laugh. It's I see people make so much fun about that. Is that funny?
No, it isn't. Especially if you are not a willing participant. Nothing funny at all. But these things are swept under the rug.
So what are some of the other conditions? What about inside the prison? I remember there was a prisoner from another country, and he was complaining about some of the the conditions within the prison.
They complain about the food for sure. One time the prisoners used to get good meals, not anymore. The diet, one time when the prisoner go up, a young little bony fella, he spend 8 months, he come back up, man, he's big, massive fella. You get feel good. You don't get feel good anymore. The diet is poor, and a lot of what's supposed to go in their diets don't get cooked in the prison.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be, but don't get cooked in the prison.
I'm saying as well that we talk about writing the MP, write the Prime Minister as well, write the President, do something. What I'm saying, don't just listen on this program. Think about what can I do? What can I do? This is my country. I love Barbados. What can I do? And don't just tell me you're going to pray. Pray is good, right? But prayer and works, they go together, right? You see?
Unfortunately, people don't care. They're prisoners. But let me tell you something, see? The mother that brought that prisoner into this world is still a mother.
Correct.
I don't care how bad he is. Somebody loves him. And when you don't treat her son well, or daughter well, because I got women in prison too, it has an impact on an innocent mother. Yeah, you can do all you can to raise a child good, but if he's hell bent, he can go down the wrong road. Tell your son.
But you remember that when the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister was in charge of the prison. She was the Minister of Home Affairs at that time, or the Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs. She did both. Yes, I remembered when that was taken from her and she was made the Minister of Home Affairs. And her solution was to just stay far and throw some condoms in there and give them. That was her solution. I remember I had the recently come to Barbados. I was shocked. So it's nothing to try to help them to curb the behavior, but it's just throw a whole bag of condoms, and they could rape one another, I guess, or I don't know. You remember that, Mr. Franklin?
I well remember, and I laughed at it because a rapist and attended upon a condom, You're ready for somebody to rape somebody, you can say, hold on there, I'm going to rape you, but let me put on this condom first. So it happened like that. So that was stupidity. That was stupid. Because it just don't work. And the thing is, I have read I've seen one or two condom things. I read them. Not read everything. They tell you they're not designed for that aperture. So it don't make any sense. But that was a solution. That was a stupid solution because people don't see anything wrong with that type of behavior. Mind you, our laws then said buggery was a crime. So you got prisoners and you facilitating them to commit another crime. You know, and that is something that I'll tell you. That's what caused the rift between she and Bishop Adderley, because he would not support that, and that is where the love was lost between the two of them, you know, because he was in cabinet at the time when it happened, and of course, true to his calling, he opposed it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, well, I don't know if he still loved her, I think, but there was no, it wasn't reciprocated. That is why he never became a minister or anything like that when she formed the government, because, you know, he and going on the road with me, and that happened and going out, and he opposed it then. To his credit, mind you, he didn't expect to become a minister under her, because he knew that position, but a lot of people misjudged him, you know, misjudged his motives, because they were behaving like this is what I would have done if I were him. They were not looking at him and judging him. They were judging him by their standards, not by his.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he got past that.
Yeah. You know, somebody here says what you can do: hold the hold the politicians accountable. Take to the street in your thousands. That's another obvious thing that you can do. Pretend you're being asked to march in all white to stop white people getting taxed. That same energy. You know, we sometimes we come here. I love that comment. Sometimes it seems like we love other people. We don't love ourselves. You know, because someone pointed out that some of these people have significant others, and they go into prison, they get raped, and then they come back out, right? Or they get involved in such and come back. Can you imagine? I mean, psychologically, they're not being reformed. I mean, the trauma, us women, if you think about being raped as a woman, right? Think about that much more being raped as a man. You understand how traumatic that is and messed up that is? So how do we expect them to be reformed? So stuff like that. I know us on the outside, people make jokes about that. I never found that was funny. That's not something to laugh about. You know, we need to cry about that.
You see, but you don't care. You do. The thing is, people care. Politicians care every 5 years, or every election cycle. You know, they do. But in elections, they care much. But you can remember, you had the T-shirts, Mayor cares, and all kind of thing. But she was then seen on stage with the lyrics saying, "I don't give a, you know what, they can't know because the election's over."
Yeah. Melissa,
you know,
says,
we have a saying in
go ahead.
Barbados: "Don't mind nigga, mind the actions." Look at the actions of the politicians. Judge them based on their actions, and say to you if you would want that person to be an example for your child.
Yes.
If you wouldn't want that person to be an example for your child, they shouldn't be in public office. Somebody that your child should look up to. If you are going to say to me, my child, I want my child, even knowing them people, that is not the person to be in office. I don't care how much B, how much D, how much Q, R, PS, whatever you are. If the persons that come before you to run this country, and you can say to yourself, or to say to anybody, there's not some people I will let my children be associated with. I wouldn't want they cannot be role models for my children. If they cannot be your children, then you need to find somebody who can fit that bill. It is as simple as that. But we go there and you think, I remember some years ago, a politician was accused of stealing. And people said to me, man, if I was going to get something, I say he's got something to get his salary. But people expect them to steal. When Congolans went to prison in the United States, there was no for doing this corrupt act in Barbados. And then laundering the money to the United States. People in Barbados will say the Americans are unfair in him. No, he committed a criminal offense. And the only way the United States could have held him is because if he had sent money to the United States and it wasn't derived from a criminal act, it would not have been a crime to send the money overseas. And that's what they caught him. Because his act was sending the proceeds of crime over state lines or over the border, the United States border. And that is what caused him to be locked up, because he didn't steal the money in the States. He wasn't bribing the States, but the money came from a bribe. And bribery is contrary to our law. So you got the money illegally, and when you transport illegal money out of your pockets or whatever form over the border of the United States, you have committed a crime in the United States for which you can go to jail. But people in Barbados, when he came home, went outside and jumped up, man, they were happy to see him back and everything,
Yeah.
And he's, but a lot of people think it wasn't a big thing. Well, it wasn't much money. It was money though. And,
yeah, I understand the principle of what you're saying, and because sometimes I don't know what it is. It's the effects of slavery. We don't somehow believe we must be treated better, and anybody can come and tell us that they care, and we believe them. But just as you're saying, look at their actions. Melissa Howard here is saying, because they're coming up with suggestions, and the opposition is doing good tonight. Good job, guys. And so, because I know that a lot of the ministers watch this program. All right. Melissa is saying, punish the offenders, extend prison sentences, separate offenders, and place them in quarters away from the main prison. So she's giving suggestions in terms of disciplinary measures that can happen within the prison system to make it better. Someone says that the prisoners should learn a trade, so when they're released, they would have a skill of some kind other than robbing people. And I think, don't they do this now? They allow them to learn a trade now?
They're allowed to learn a trade. I don't know how you think. I'll give you a joke though. At once, that like the first barber shop in Suriname was the Surinamese who went to prison in Barbados, and he learned the barber's trade in prison. And he went down there and set up his own shop when he came out of prison. So you see, it can be done. People have been rehabilitated. Non-nationals have been rehabilitated. But they closed the barber shop because the guy who was running the barber shop had a little problem, and he and somebody had the same girl. So the fellow had the same girl. He said, "Boy, you can't be in anymore. Shut the barber shop." Shut the barber shop. Had men in prison get their hair cut. All kind of nonsense going on in this place. And the thing is, that officer has complained to the president, to the service commission, to the ministry, that everybody in Barbados who is senior, who have a role to play, and nobody, to the commission itself, the Protective Service Commission, and refuse to deal with that man's case.
Yeah.
When you have friends in Barbados, and you all them in the same lodge, the lodge fellas protect you. I remember I represented a man at the printery years ago. He was beaten by one of the senior officers there, and then the fight was over, and it's like, not fight because it was just a beating. It wasn't a fight. He called, the guy had to go to the hospital, and he said, well, a little bit more and his neck would have been broken. The officer who did it stood up in the printery and said, I don't, my lodge can protect me. What did they do? He said, my lodge. Then the police came, the police said, no, we'll deal with it. The police were not allowed to investigate that crime. That man went home sick, he recovered, and he came back to work. And let me tell you, I'll give you a joke. This is funny. Trust me, it's funny. I said to him, well, look, if we can't get them to charge him, I'm going to get them to charge you. And then your story will come out when your case is being heard. So I told him, every day when you come up for work and you see that man run out, you run out, you frighten him, he will kill you, you frighten him. And he did that for 8 years. 8 years. And the authority just let run out and come back to work the next day and run out and go back to work the next day. They refused to charge the man, and then they refused to charge him because they didn't want all that thing to come out.
Come out, right. To cover it out.
So much so that his work was piling up, and they then got a temporary officer assigned to do his job while he was being paid for it. 8 years.
But that's the thing, we have to realize when we have this level of corruption, because that is a form of corruption as well. Then what happens is that we lose money as a country. Because now you're paying somebody a temp to do his job because you're covering up something, and that's why it is so dangerous.
But the only body that got any flack from that was me. I get cursed on Facebook, I get cursed on BARBADOS Underground and all kind of stuff because I advise the fella, when you go there and you see him run out, don't stop in the same room with him. You're going to run and go back home. And they allowed that for 8 years and paid his salary every day for 8 years.
Just to cover up.
So much so that when he got tired doing that, he would apply for vacation and give vacation too. This happened in BARBADOS because we got these lodges that people could go and do their nastiness, commit murder or whatever, and get away with it.
Because they're connected to the lodge. Guys, as you're listening to this, we've been talking about the prisons. You have ideas, please share the ideas. As I said, people listen to this program. Someone, Ramim, is saying we must stop putting first timers with softer offenses elsewhere to avoid them getting hardened. Renovate Gandera for those with counseling to rehabilitate the prisoners, right? Yeah. So yes, so all of these ideas are coming up. Somebody saying that they like this man, Caswell, bad. You gotta like him, and you like him, and you pray for him. As I told him today, my husband and I, we pray for him because he's a treasure, and we're not doing this to make him bigger than life, but we're thanking God because he's speaking to us, and the stuff he's talking about the prison, I didn't know half of these things.
But you see, the thing is, the people in the ministry know everything that I told you and more. But what happens? Nothing. Because they don't want to bother their school friend, lodge friend, significant other, you name it. All these things happen in there. So, and they have friends. I remember when George Clark was the superintendent of the prison, he they had a lot of pigs up there. They killed pigs for Christmas and things. And when George reported, they had he killed about 30 pigs. And those 30 pigs only had about 3 legs when everything was done. George reported about what happened, nothing. You know what I mean? Those 30 pigs only had about 3 legs.
So what happened to the other leg?
I have to saw all the meat was there. I missed some of those pigs that had none. But nothing happened. No investigation or nothing. George reported.
Yeah.
George Clark was superintendent of the prison at the time. And he reported it. Nothing happened. No, but it is. So what?
Someone saying you have not even touched quarter of the problems at that prison, and we have to move on to another topic. But
You are correct. You are correct, Mr. Joseph S. Kadagan. You are correct. But a lot of the problems that I can touch will impact on national security. And if I explain to you how that man got away, more people will get away the next time using that method. So I can't talk about it. There are a lot of things I cannot talk about because I do not want to be the person who imperil the national security of this country.
But you know, it's so funny. You hear the minister saying that I don't understand how did this happen? You know, we have such strong security there. We have, and he doesn't know. And we are here listening to the litany of things. People already know so many things. I guess I'm the one in the dark, didn't know. And he's so shocked. He doesn't know. Oh my goodness, how did this happen? I don't know. I wonder if you know he's just there's nothing that he's done right. He was the same, wasn't he the same one in St. John telling the people about the leaking, the pipes leaking? He made some comment about that. He like he's some, you know, like a blonde or something. He doesn't think.
I don't know. You see, the thing is, these people have a lot of ambition, but no ability. More ambition than ability, and then they get elected. They get elected because their party is in the ascendancy at the time, but they don't have any ability to they can't manage a pawn board, you know. But they end up handling the ministry and people's lives, but they're just there. And
Yeah.
I think they think of themselves as doing a good job.
Yes.
But that's the only one think so themselves.
You know, someone wrote here, it's the prisons. Listen, opposition. This is why we've got to bring out all the tools. Use your social media. Let your Facebook page, your Instagram page become an opposition page. Fight. Use social media, people. Write to the newspapers, all of them. Okay? Whatever method that you are, legal method, write to your MPs, write to the Prime Minister, write to the President. Because look at this, it's the prisons. Look at the state the prisons in. And he don't know. He really doesn't know because he's incompetent. The QEH, which we're going to talk about that, right? The Ministry of Education, Barbados Light and Power, BWA. Listen, this is crazy. I know we want to go and talk about Canada, but touch quickly from you on the QEH, and these are engineers that were on strike today. Were there engineers on strike today? I see Kimar, we're gonna come to you soon.
So I'm told I don't have any details about that. They were not mine.
So there was there. So you don't know what I guess is it working conditions?
I don't have any. I had meetings today. So when all this was going on, I was sitting down in people's office trying to get problems solved. You know, so yeah. I heard the story, but I had no input.
No input. So we had this week. We had from the power outage, you know, and where the QEH was in black, was in darkness. You know, thank God nobody died, and now we're hearing the engineers are protesting. Something is wrong there. Once again, and this is our beautiful Barbados. This is a beautiful Barbados that we handed to people to take care of. We handed over beautiful Barbados to people for people to take care of. And now tonight, as the opposition, we're saying we've got to do something. September 30th. You can do something. Get out there for the march. Massacre Park. No more than ever till the walls come down. Saturday, September 30th, 10 a.m. Massacre Park. right there, Kensington Oval. We've got to come out. Look at the principals. Look at the abuse of our principals. That what has happened. I saw in the paper, Mr. Franklin, where one principal just resigned. Others have decided to take sick leave.
More than one, you know,
Yeah, but the paper said one resigned.
More than one, but that's the one who that knew at the time, you know. But you can't blame them. But the thing is, they acted in anger rather than sit down and contemplate what they can do, because they have legitimate cases to take to court. And like I spoke on brass tacks today because I keep hearing even a union leader criticize the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education and the officers in there were victims of this nonsense, just like the principals and the deputy principals who got mistreated. Because we had some of those vacancies going back 4 years. All right? And you, according to the law, Public Service Act, Section 1311, says no established post in the public service shall be allowed to remain vacant for more than a year. The exact quote is, no established office in the public service shall be allowed to remain vacant for a period of more than 1 year, except, and the exceptions were, if the Governor General allowed the vacancy, that means nobody will be acting in it, or if the office was frozen by the minister. Well, those two things didn't happen, so those posts should have been filled within a year because it says shall.
Right.
Shall is mandatory. So it says this shall not be, basically they said that should be filled within a year. So you have people acting in those things for 3 years, 4 years. Vacant posts. And all along, those jobs are supposed to be filled. But once we had the politicians saying that, oh, we're going to change everything with the principals and we can put them on contract and stuff, so they were not filling the posts, even though the law says they're going to be filled within a year. Then in August this year, they had interviews for people who were interested in getting a job as a principal, some outside and inside. Now, if a fellow was a principal for a year, or 3 years, or 4 years, you must, when you are assessing him, you must assess him based on his performance in the job as well. And that is required under the law. They didn't do that. They use the interviewing process only. And some people could go in there and sing pretty, went in there, get the jobs. Then and then the day before school started, the Sunday, the ministry was informed that these are the people who are supposed to be appointed, have been appointed. But you got people in the jobs working, but some of them are not appointed. So the Ministry of Education must now carry out its instructions. They don't work for themselves. The ministry don't appoint anybody. They carry out instructions, and the people responsible for these is the Ministry of Public Service, the commission. As you know, the Administrative, General, and Professional Service Commission. It used to be called the Public Service Commission. And because a principal of a school, according to the Public Service Act again, is a head of department, the Prime Minister is required to sign off on those appointments, or supposed to be consulted on those appointments. But so far in Barbados, since that piece of legislation was put in place, when the Constitution was amended to say that the Prime Minister must be consulted, we have taken consulted to mean the Prime Minister makes the decision.
Ah.
So the Prime Minister, but you know she don't live here. So when she comes in to do her courtesy calls, she might have to sign off on these things. So you see the problem. Prime Minister has to be consulted, and you can't. You cannot make the president cannot sign off on those appointments until the Prime Minister has made the little.
So the buck stops with her. And so we all knew she was out of the island. So then the poor Minister of Education, which we all cussing out them all, but they couldn't do anything because she was, as you rightly said, she doesn't live here. But when she came to visit, and we had to wait till she came back here. So that might have been the reason.
Some of these things were, these vacancies were existing for 3-4 years. The guy McCarthy, who was at Foundation, he was there for 4 years. And then they take him and transfer him to Alexandra. He does not drive because of his own issues. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it is medical. I'm not going to disclose it here.
Right.
But he cannot drive. Not that the police, the court license or nothing like that. He just has a condition that will not allow him to drive. But he's running the school well. So they take him from Foundation, which is just a skip and a throw from where he lives. So he lives in St. Philip, Marshfield. And put him in Alexandra School. You don't drive, you gotta catch the bus or pay a taxi. It's 160 down or 160 up. When the day come to get to Alexandra School from
from St. Philip, that's what it would be $160. But I mean, think about it. Somebody might say, well, it's not the ministry's job, business, whether it drives or not. The inhumane thing about it is that he was told this probably the day before or a couple of days before.
Not a couple of days before. The day before. The night before.
The night before.
The lady that I'm representing, she was asleep. She woke up during the night and saw 4 missed calls on her phone. Now she's a principal, and you see 4 missed calls from an education officer that time of the night. You still think it's school burning or something. You know you're concerned because they're calling you at that kind of time.
Right.
So 11:35 p.m. when she got up during the night, she returned the call to be told you're transferred. And they're going to transfer her for having been in the job for 3 years. They say you were not successful. They tell her we found out that she was not successful at the interview. And she's going to be acting for a principal who is off for a term. And then at the end of the term, she will revert to deputy, having been a principal for 3 years.
Somebody's asking if those teachers and principals. So one of those, some of the teachers or some of the principals decide that they're going on sick leave. Will they be paid half pay?
No, in the public service, people at their level get 21 days sick leave. And if you have a doctor's certificate that says that you will be after, this is January 5, 2024-1. I'll read it for you. It says extension of sick leave. Extension of leave with full pay may be granted on the ground of ill health to any officer other than a casual employee for a period not exceeding 6 calendar months, and where there is reason to believe that the officer will ultimately be fit for further service for a further period not exceeding 6 calendar months. So you have a year sick leave. Just like national insurance. National insurance pay people sick leave for a year. The public service, since you don't get sick leave pay from national insurance, you get your pay from the public service for that year too. So it's nothing unusual. Just that private sector employers don't pay their people, they let them go to national insurance to get that year's pay. But public officers, appointed public officers, are not required to pay the portion of the national insurance contribution that would allow them to get sickness benefit, and for good reason. They will get their full pay anyhow. So why make them pay for sick leave? And then they will, a lot of people will be sick all the time because you will get 100% of your salary and then 66 and 2/3% for national insurance. So as I said earlier, Barrow was not mad, so he decided, no sick leave for no sick pay for national insurance for these appointed officers. So they'll be on sick leave for a year. They could be on sick leave for a year if they have a doctor's certificate. Mind you, even though we're talking about principles, I want to mention something that bothers the hell out of me. We have some young doctors in Barbados who work in the polyclinics, and they are not allowed 1 day sick leave. Not one.
Oh my God! This.
They are not given vacation.
You mean no, man? You Caswell. Honestly, I mean, Kimar. I know Kimar here to talk about the Canadian connection. You know, Kimar. But Kimar, you hearing some of these things here? Good night, Kimar. How you doing?
Yes, good night. Good night, everyone. Happy again to be back. Yeah, I heard some of these things.
There's a noise on your mic. I'm not sure why that is. If you have your fan going, I don't know. Okay, keep talking.
No, that's me turning my leaves to get to another thing. So you probably hear me. So sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Well, I heard some of the things Caswell said, but we are under communist rule, dictatorship, where those persons in authority could abuse even constitutional offices. As Caswell said, break all of the rules, and there's no recourse anywhere to anyone. All roads lead to the Prime Minister, and we are warning Barbadians that this is what we're going to end up in, where you destroy the entire public service, and for the ones you can't get to conform to your agenda, you just simply destroy the entire thing so that it could now become corrupt and you can now bend it as to how you want it. Because if you break one rule, if you break two rules, then you can break other rules. And the government has been breaking all of the rules. Their maladministration in the country. They're happy because they're being paid cabinet salaries of $4 million a year collectively. That has nothing to do with ever corruption and try what private companies they may be establishing to benefit from.
Marcia.
I was saying that Kimar is breaking up. Is he breaking up for you too, Caswell, or it's just me?
Yes, he's breaking up for me, but you were off too.
Right. Okay. All right. No problem. So you know, I want to just let me just say something before Caswell continue. To say to those who are on, this is not a political show in the sense that we're not promoting a political party. We're dealing with issues in the country, but we're not promoting a political party. And I just want to say for the record, if at any time anyone posts anything in the comment section that is promoting a party, and you're putting your party name and you're soliciting and you're pushing your party, we're going to remove those comments. All right, this is a discussion, and I'm asking you to please keep it that way. Kimar comes on here and you don't hear him pushing his party. We're talking about the nation. So let's just put away all the colors right now and the labels and just speak about the issues in the country. Okay? I just want to say that. Not that anybody did that tonight, but I just want to make that general comment that that is not what we're doing. All right, guys? Thank you so much. Okay. Kimar is back. Let's see if we can hear him now. Kimar, okay, in the meantime, go ahead, Mr. Franklin, and then I'm going to let Kimar.
I was talking about those doctors.
Yes.
Now, let me explain why these doctors are being mistreated. And I can tell you why. Why it is done. You see, doctors are paid at a very high level in the public service. All right? But the people who process their pay, and see how these little 25, 26-year-old children, because you know you've left secondary school and you're going to spend your 7 years and become a medical doctor, work very hard, study very hard, and become a doctor. But some of the people who know process their pay got 27 years in the service. And they're getting less than half of what the doctors get in. So they get jealous and they find ways to make sure they don't pay them. I know they have developed a system where they call some of these doctors locums. Well, let me explain what
they call them?
Locum. L-O-C-U-M. Locum.
Right.
A locum is a term used in England, Australia, and other places for doctors who go and help out at a clinic when the doctor that works there is on sick leave or calling sick a day. They'll probably come and work for a day or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on the vacation. That is what a locum is. But these are people who have worked 3, 4, 5 years in the ministry. There can't be a locum, even if we had locums in our system, and we don't. Because the public service does not have locums in it. We have appointed officers, temporary officers, contract officers, could be either temporary or an established post. And then you can have a casual person that is appointed by the permanent secretary. But those were discontinued for some time, even though the provision is still there in law, or now had appointed all the casuals, and but there's still provision that you can call them. So these people are basically casual employees. If there's no vacancy there for them, but apparently there are not enough posts of medical officer. So they bring these people and call them locums. Locum again, Latin. When I say Latin, we're doing a lot of Latin tonight. The actual word thing in Latin is locum tenens, meaning a placeholder. You're just holding the place for somebody till they come back on vacation or sick leave or something like this. And they are temporary substitute for permanent staff away on sick leave or vacation leave. That's what a locum is. But you have people in Barbados, and contrary to the laws of Barbados, you don't give them vacation. You don't allow them to get a day's sick leave. If you don't go on work, you don't get paid. This is happening to young doctors in Barbados because somebody in the ministry decide, man, them young doctors make too much money. No, I just tell the people in the ministry all the time, now if you don't want to make such money, you should go and study. You dumb, and you couldn't get to this because you're jealous and abusing. That is why you're not having enough doctors in Barbados. A lot of them leaving and going overseas and getting good jobs. But we are taking the doctors and abusing them here in Barbados. So that is how come you can go and find something like Sylvester Scott Polyclinic, a 24-hour system, but they have people at night that they haven't got the body in the doctor there because they haven't got the body they're saying.
Right.
Because the doctors finding jobs outside of Barbados. We train doctors in Barbados from nursery school all the way up to university. They become doctors all at the expense of Barbados. And then you have jobs in Barbados that they can get, and you ain't getting them. So of course you're gonna leave Barbados and go look and seek your fortune outside.
Wow. It's so much. It's just so much. It's it's like a stench that comes up. Colin said, he loved Barbados, all these years, but what's happening now? It's kind of hard to find something to love. But I know that even in the midst of all that we're talking about tonight, everything that we're hearing, um, if we pull everything back, we'll still see the beauty of this country. They want to take the beauty out of our hearts. They want to pull up to protect, to yank away the beauty of this country. They're trying to destroy this country. But we are standing up tonight, opposition. The opposition is standing up. And I'm saying to us, let's do something about this. Let us not allow them to destroy this treasure. Let us not allow them to destroy this gift that God has given us called Barbados. When they destroy Barbados, they're destroying us. So we have to stand up. And that's what this show is all about. That's what this show is all about. I see Kimar is still struggling, trying to get in. Let me see if he's settled now. Right? Yeah. Good night again, Kimar.
He's frozen.
He's frozen again. And I know he did a lot of research tonight that he wants to share with us. So I really want to hear from him tonight. While he sorts it out, we're talking about justice for workers. Mr. Franklin.
Because I want to finish off with the doctors because
yes, I'm sorry about that.
Don't get it that I'm racist or I hear any particular race or anything, but trust me when they tell you that we will have a lot of Indian doctors around here and we got Bajan doctors that can't get jobs. Bajan doctors who have to emigrate to get work, and we bring people from outside to work in Barbados. And those doctors, when they get jobs overseas and they develop their careers out there, it's going to be very difficult then for them to uproot, especially if they find a little person that they fall in love with and thing out there. They're not going to want to come back home then and uproot them family. So you have a situation where Barbados is treating Barbadians badly in preference for people from outside of Barbados. You can't get a job, and those doctors are there. If they go on vacation, they tell them they let take the vacation, but they say on one condition you don't get paid. That is a crime in Barbados, and the Ministry of Health is doing it to young doctors in Barbados.
Wow. Oh my God. No, so no, what you're saying here is explaining why so many of them are taking jobs overseas and why we don't have enough doctors at the polyclinics and at the hospital, and because they're now saying to us, don't come to the QH, the accident and emergency, don't come. Go to the polyclinic when they very well know there are no doctors at the polyclinic. Because these doctors, based on what you're telling us tonight, they are leaving for greener pastures because of the way they're treated. So we are basically treating our people worse than slavery or just about the same way. So we've become now that the government has become now the slave drivers.
Yeah, essentially that's what I'm saying to you. These are people who, if you as an employer had not given one of your workers vacation, the chief labor officer would have you before the court in a flash. And there's a punishment that you can go jail for, But the ministry now says that they don't follow the holiday pay, they follow general orders, and so they can breach the law. You're treating people badly, and it is because of jealousy in the first instance. People see the young guys making too much money, and they're jealous because these are young children. I got children them age, now I make more money than me. That is the attitude you have in the Ministry of Health. So they find ways not to pay them, and you call them locums. We don't have locums in our system. Our system in the public service does not have a position called a locum. Does not have anything called locums, but they have been doing it for years, and I'm vexed too because the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, who is the trade union that represents junior doctors, have done nothing for those workers in this regard.
Well,
Nothing.
Once again, a silent union or an organization that exists without teeth. They have removed, the strength from them. They have no power, based on what you're saying here, to represent these doctors, these junior doctors, and what they are, they're going through, the abuse that they're experiencing. Somebody's asking, didn't QEA just get an award? They got an award for what?
I don't know.
Can somebody tell us if they got an award? What did they get an award for? They're now telling us they can't look after us. We need to go to the polyclinic, or we need to go private, go to Sandy Crest or FMH or somewhere, go and pay after we paid our taxes. So, let me see if we can bring in
But not only our taxes, your national insurance contributions went up by 2% to pay directly into the national insurance collects it and pays it directly into the QAH. So you're paying twice already. So you're paying the government twice. And now when you want medical assistance, you are going to pay now for a third time outside of the government. That is not fair.
Somebody is saying the doctors right casual. They're seeing what we aren't seeing, what coming to the country. They said it's alleged that the rats run on the wards at night and in the days around the food can and the canteen and kitchen, and that all those areas want cleaning. I know that I saw rats there myself when I went to visit somebody, and we run from the rats, and the rats run inside the same in the ward. Yeah, they run. I was there and I saw that. Nobody told me, but we run, and we went to look for a little girl from our school, and the rat run up, and one of our students run up her leg. And I tell you the truth, I run, left the children, everybody. I was so scared of this big rat. So you go to a hospital, you don't expect to see a rat at a hospital, and the rat take off. QEH is where the rat was. Somebody asking which hospital it is. The QEH, right? So it is a real thing. So who wants to work in an environment like that? But the thing is that we don't want to stay outside and criticize and laugh at it, because it's our institution. It's us. The QEH is to us. So we have to come up with solutions. We have to find a way to hold the politicians accountable, get rid of them. Come out to the march. Come out in your numbers. Break that cycle, guys. Break the spell and come out in your numbers to the march. Let me hear from Mr. Stewart. He's been trying so hard to come in on the conversation. Mr. Stewart, speak, and let's hear if we can hear you properly.
You can hear me well?
Yes, it's better. It's better. Is that your dog or what? Man, what, the devil don't want you to talk tonight?
He's frozen again.
Frozen again. Oh my goodness. Come on, man. And we chatted today. He has so much to talk about Canada. And we want to hear you. Tell you what, let's try this, Kimar. Can you turn off your camera? Turn off your camera, please. Let's try that. Turn off your camera, Kimar. Wonder if he's hearing me. I'm telling him to turn off his camera, and let's see if we can just work with audio
Yeah.
tonight. Turn off your camera, and let's see if we can work with audio, if it will work better. Is he hearing me? Let me see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You heard. Okay. So
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
okay. So let's work with it. Let's
Yeah,
work
it's
with.
working for me.
Okay. So let's jump right into. We're gonna come back to you, Mr. Franklin, because there's a young lady here, Rachel Lane, that I want us to talk about. Rachel Lane. She's 28 years old. We want to talk about her, but let me just let Kimar get some stuff that he researched, on here tonight. Kimar, you're here to talk about Canada and Barbados's relationship with Canada, the Prime Minister's relationship with Justin Trudeau, and some of what we see happening in Barbados. Somebody wrote and said, well, it should be understood that Barbados will have a strong relationship with Canada. That's normal. What have you found? What is some of the research you've done on that relationship with Barbados and Canada?
Yeah. Good night again. First, before I start, I just want to issue a quick disclaimer and say that I know some persons from the show have been contacting me. I am going to respond as soon as possible. Don't think that I am ignoring you, but I just have a lot of things going on. Uh, so yeah. So Canada and Barbados. I well we went through another power outage in Barbados through the light and power. And
Kimar, we want to hear this. Can you? I think try turning off your camera. Period.
Turn off
And
the camera
just
and leave it off. And to just speak.
yeah, and just speak. We want to hear what you have to say. Turn off the camera. Bear with us, guys. This is gonna happen tonight. So I'm hoping he's hearing me to just turn off the camera and keep it off. And as I said, we want to talk about Rachel Lane, the lady who fell in the well, and in 2021, and to this day, nothing much has been done for her. We want to discuss about her. In fact, while we wait on Kimar, because I don't see any movement with Kimar, can we talk about her, Mr. Franklin? And I will take your lead on this, but my heart goes out to this young lady, and I would love to see if as a show we can do something for her and not just bring up the topic, but is there anything we can do for this 28-year-old mom? I think she's probably 29 now, who fell in a well. She has 3 children. Can you share a bit about this woman, please?
She was hired by the Ministry of Public Works to clean the streets.
Mm-hmm.
The ash cleanup and all kind of stuff. And when she first got the job, the cleanup was near her home. So anytime she wanted to use the bathroom, she would step into her house, use the bathroom, come back to work, no problem. But then, as you know, you don't just clean around your house all the time. You got to clean further down the road and further down the road. And eventually they would put her to work elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And a situation like that caused her to get a bladder infection because she was retaining her urine for too long.
Mm-hmm.
So when that cleared up, you just have a lang and let it happen again. But the government did not provide any sanitation for these people. No chemical toilets, no anything. So she wanted to pass water, and she stepped off the road, and fell into a well. And she fell in the well, a 30-foot drop. She crushed her ankle, the bones that had moved bone from somewhere else and put them in her foot. to help repair her foot. And the other foot got damaged, so both feet got damaged. Initially, after she recovered a little bit, they put her to work in the ministry itself, doing some work in there. But she never got any sort of compensation, simply because the ministry determined that she was self-employed. I don't know how you could be working for the ministry, the MTW, and because they deemed her to be self-employed, which is illegal, by the way. Only the National Insurance Board can do that. You have to apply to the National Insurance Board to get people deemed to be self-employed. And you got to make out the case. That didn't happen. They just decided that these people are self-employed. And when you get injured on the job, you are covered for employment injury from national insurance. But you're only covered for employment injury if you are employed. Self-employed people are not covered for employment injury. So there's no national insurance benefit for her. So there's no payment coming in while she's sick. Eventually they let her go. No unemployment benefits either, because she was not a self-employed person, don't get unemployment benefits as well. So she got nothing. As a matter of fact, the only thing she got from anybody in government was a fruit basket for the Prime Minister.
So this woman, the situation is, let me just, for those who are joining, she was working as a contract worker with the government.
No, she was not a contract worker. They called her a contract worker.
They call her, but it's one of those cases where they don't want the responsibility, so they call her a contract worker.
Yeah. The reason for that is that the IMF told the government to do that, because they want to cut back on the wage bill and stuff. So the government, this is what the IMF dictates, that you should employ these people. So you have some person working for you, doing the same work as the other people around you. And MTW has staff for all these years cleaning the street. I grew up and see people cleaning the streets. They were not contract workers. They don't work for themselves. And if you're a contract worker, you are able to bring your staff to do the work for you. Right? They can bring their staff, and some of them trade to go to national insurance and pay contributions so that it'll be covered down the road. And national insurance wouldn't take it, because national insurance tell them you are not self-employed, so we cannot take the self-employed contribution from you. And the government refused to pay. So she get no benefits from national insurance, no injury benefits. And the injury benefits, when you're injured on the job, you get doctor bills as well. If you have to go overseas for treatment, you get airline ticket, MRI, whatever else you have to do to get yourself back up to where you used to be, national insurance will pay those bills. So imagine now she has to go to the doctor, she has to pay bills, that kind of stuff, and no money coming in, no national insurance to reimburse you because you are not an employee of the government. Now you can tell me that those fellas are working outside the street there, cutting down the little bush and weeding the grass and working up the ashes and things, that they were self-employed? No, they were not. It was It was the government trying to avoid paying contributions so that their wage bill would be lower. So when you see private sector employers doing the same nastiness and calling Jordan, criticizing them, he should look back and criticize the ministers in his cabinet. Because the private sector is taking the lead from what the government is doing. Even though the law says so, who is a contract worker and who is not, they just name you a contract worker and don't pay.
You know, Mr. Franklin, this situation here has me from evening. Someone called me today, and I spoke to them this evening, and it just burned my belly. to think that, guys, I want you to, Barbadians, give me a moment there, Mr. Franklin and Kimar, you're going to come on. But this one have me because I hate injustice. I just can't stand it. I'm saying that even if you said you trick the people and you call them contract workers and tell them that they're self-employed, cutting the grass on the roadside, you know, the woman have 3 children and she's not stealing. She heard that they have some work and she went and she got a little work and she cut in the grass. Follow this with me, Barbadians. I'm talking to you as Bajans tonight. Let's talk about this, okay? Let me put it down, and I'm going my Jamaican vernacular for you to understand. You understand? Now, can you imagine that? She trying to make ends meet, and she had to go in the bush to pee because they did not put any toilets out there. There are no toilets for the workers. So that again, okay? No toilets. So the big woman have to drop her underwear in the bush to pee. Because she tried to hold it, and what happened when she tried to hold it? She catch a urine an infection, a bladder infection. So the poor woman dropped her underwear, pee, and when she was peeing, to drop in a 28-foot well or 30-foot well. She wasn't stealing. Huh? She has 3 children, and she cutting grass. The woman cutting grass and cleaning up with all the men, okay? And drop in the well. And you're going to tell me that the government is going to bring out their laws to say, well, she was not employed. She was self-employed. Huh? You think that matter at this case? And the Prime Minister, who I'm not sure, I'm thinking, this is my thoughts, that she must be a millionaire by now, gonna send that woman a fruit basket with 3 children, and you are going to look at me and tell me that that woman care? You all these people put together, you don't think that they could come together, even if it didn't fit in the law that they can give her something from the government. Where is our MP? Where is our MP? There's a question here saying that the MP, we need to flood the MP. Who is our MP, Mr. Thing? This gets me annoyed now, man. Who is the MP? Who is our MP?
I really don't know. I spoke with her, but I didn't ask her that because I was more concerned about getting benefits for her because her lawyer, she went to a lawyer public Mr. MTW, Minister of Public Works, and they got back a response from their legal department saying that they have no liability. She was a contract worker, and she went on private property and get injured. You can't pee in the road, and could there? It is bad enough not having any sort of toilet facilities. And mind you, she is not the only first woman that ever told me about these things. And one woman, she was so graphic. She told me, Mr. Franklin, I go into the bush, and the bush tall. So just use your imagination what happened to that poor woman. You know, you want to.
This is worse than the plantation. We're back the plantation. We're back on plantation here. Oh God, sorry, Mr. Franklin. This one have me outraged.
Tell me, Mr. Franklin, you know, but you go in the bush and then you want pee and you are bound back up because the bush coming at you. And they tolerate this kind of thing because they don't have a choice. And the government that cares allow women, like they ain't got no women in that government, and they didn't, and the people, and they have no mother, they ain't got no sister, they ain't got no daughters, they ain't got no nieces.
Mr. Franklin, this is not going to. When I heard this thing today, and when you explained, and I the person who called me was a male. A male called me today about this. He was so, upset because everybody, as you said, Mr. Franklin, have auntie and have mother, and have girlfriend and have daughter. And this is happening in Barbados in 2023 and talking about this will be the best. We're making this the best place to live and work. And you are people working on the street corner, street side, and no chemical toilet, nothing. nothing for them to use, and have women stooping and peeping on the side of the road. What kind of low class on the top of we are world class? Huh? We need to find the MP. I agree with Colin. Find the MP and write and make noise for this woman. Make noise for Rachel Lane. Let it be that the Samaritan. You remember the Samaritan story? Where the priest pass and leave the man dying and bleeding. Huh? And all these people pass and leave the man dying and bleeding. Are we going to treat her like that because she's of a certain class? Huh? So the feminist groups, or somebody here says, if she was of a different group, the feminist groups would be speaking up on her behalf. Well, I tell you, this is not going to go like this. This is not going to go like this. And first of all, we need to come together and give her something. Everybody on the show, we need to organize something, Mr. Franklin, and give her something. But they need to take care of this woman.
You know, let me tell you something. She tries her best. She's a worker. She wants to work. She even then took a job in the gas station, trying to get a few dollars. But she foot crushed the ankle. Then she started falling 50 feet and landing on her feet. It seemed like the person who jumped out the hospital and broke his ankles. She was doing legitimate work, and the feet are so damaged that she could not walk through the gas station up and down to pump gas. So she had to go. She tries. She's trained. And we got a government that does not care, and a ministry that can tell you, we don't have any liability. It was a contract worker. Let me explain to you. Let me see if I find my Employment Rights Act here, and I can explain to you what a contract worker is. I usually keep it in my bag. I don't walk too far. But if you see my bag, it's in there. Employment Rights Act. Man, I go over here. So I tell you. The first schedule of the Employment Rights Act sets out the factors to be considered in determining the existence of a contract of employment. So if you are an employee, or these are the things, it's in determining whether a contract exists, consideration shall be given to whether A, there's an obligation on the part of the employee to give personal and exclusive service. All that means is that if I am working, you give me a job. If I'm to give personal service, that means I work for you. Because if I'm a contractor, I could bring in my staff. She had a staff to bring in and that, and so she's a contractor.
Right.
Then the next thing it says that the work is done according to the instructions of the employer, and the manner in which the work is carried out is subject to the control and directions of the employer. Again, she goes to work, receives instructions, use it, and do what the people tell you to do. Then it says here, the next C, the work has continuity, and such continuity creates for the employee an economic dependence upon the employer without there being any financial risk to the employee. Meaning that you just going to work, you don't going to provide nothing, you don't lose, if the business collapse, you don't going to lose no money because it is not your business.
Right.
That the work is carried out within fixed, this is D. Work is carried out within fixed hours at a place, at a workplace or workplaces specified or agreed by the employer. So the employer sends you to work down there. They send you to work over here. She don't want to do it by herself.
Exactly.
Right? The work involves integration of the employee in the organization of the business, including his subjection to its policies. I don't know how that related to her. The employee is subject to the employee is subject to the procedures of the business for addressing grievances and discipline matters. Of course, they have discipline. Now, the next thing is G, says the employee is in receipt of periodic remuneration payable on a stipulated basis, for example, hourly, weekly, or monthly intervals, and all such payments are subject to statutory deductions. Well, there should be, but they wouldn't take them out. H, the employee is entitled to holidays with pay. And I, the employee makes no or only nominal investment in tools and equipment. In her case, in these people's cases, they don't have any investment in tools at all, not nominal or otherwise. The government provide the tools, they provide the wheelbarrows, they provide
So
the
why do
sewers.
how do the lawyers let them get away with this, Mister Franklin? How did they get away with this?
You see, lawyers work for, unlike me, a lot of people come to me and they don't have to pay, but lawyers have a business and they're all going to pay them. And you ain't going to get the lawyers to work for you if you don't got the money. So after a while, you don't got the money to pay the lawyer, your case not going to fall. You can't put them in court because the first thing the lawyers can tell they're going to pay $7,500 to put it in court. And you working, you aren't working at all, sick leave and getting money, you don't have that 7,500. So that is the
Oh
problem.
God, Mr. Franklin.
You,
So
you know,
this lady has no justice because she doesn't have any money.
One day a person came to me, she had a employment matter. She didn't have the money. And her lawyer told her, go and see Caswell. Even give her my number. She came and we got a settlement for her. And of course she paid me then. But the lawyer didn't work without money. The lawyer said she wants to see Caswell. That is what we have in here. So when you ask about the lawyers in business. And I tell you something.
In business, yeah.
Sometimes you can't blame them because sometimes the lawyers get money for you and then you turn back and pay. A lot of people do that to lawyers. A lot of people do it to me.
So you see the other side to it. Mr. Franklin, this I know Kimar did some research I wanted to share. We're gonna get back to this. Guys, don't log off. Stay on. We want to deal with this issue. Some more. I'm not gonna let go of it. I think that we need to create stuff for Facebook pages and calling for justice for Rachel Lane. Every woman needs to take this up. Every woman. It doesn't matter that she, she's somebody who can. You might say she's from the working class or not even the working class. You know what? We're gonna stand up for this woman and call for justice to her. And as we're doing that, we're gonna raise some money for her. Yeah. Use this platform and we're going to share what we have with her. But I am so I don't want to leave this topic, but Kimar, I know, so I'm going to give him some time. Mr. Franklin, I know you're not finished yet. Your head hot like mine right now. But hang on, guys. We're going to come back to this before we close the show. Don't go. We're going to close up. Somebody has a question here. How about negligence? So see if you can have an answer for her, when we come back, okay? Let's see if we can hear from Kimar. All right, so Mr. Franklin will answer. Ms. Pitt, Mr. Franklin will answer your question when he comes back on. When we start talking about this topic again. Let's hear from Kimar. Kimar, oh Lord, we hot tonight. We can hear you now.
Yeah. Well, again, poor internet. I feel like they slow it down on purpose whenever it come on the show because it work good otherwise. Right?
Don't you making a joke, but don't do the air.
Yeah. But I mean, it paints a bigger picture for us too. We only have two internet companies in Barbados. That's Flow and Digicel. They both offer poor service. Not one or the other. They both offer poor internet service. And something needs to be done through the whole Caribbean with these poor internet service providers. As net bill is more than a water bill, no. And that's one of the most expensive necessities that we have. And it's not proper or well to do when you're trying to get work done. We're pushing a digital economy, we're pushing online services. We talk about digitalization. And the very thing that's needed to get digitalization going is the internet. And that's piss poor. Right? So that's probably why the government couldn't get us the free Wi-Fi and breakdown that they promised. That's probably why the government had a program so that they were going to tackle all the wells and that they were going to cover the wells. I remember a child fell into a well in Santiago's constituency and Santia was out front there in the point, speaking about the government tackling the well issue and this something like this will never happen again and safety and concern. Yeah, Santia, she was out front speaking this thing. So I'm very surprised knowing that somebody else could be falling into it. Well, I know hearing this from the government after they gave that big Francis speech, probably if the lady was from Santia's constituency, Santia would have probably turned up again with all of the cameras and everything to have an interview with the lady as to how she felt anyway. Well, but she's probably in the wrong constituency. But the sad part about that is that the BLP have all of the constituencies, so it's still a very dominant indictment on whoever MP that is. But to get into my point as to why I'm really here, sometime on the show this week, somebody asked me about Canada. And when we speak about colonization, we speak about England, we speak about Spain, we speak about Belgium, we speak about the States as being the white colonizers. But we tend not to focus on the role that Canada has played in colonizing the region. Right? Canada is a Commonwealth country as well. Canada is one, I think, is owned by the Queen as well. Canada doesn't even have a president, but they have a prime minister, just like how Barbados has a prime minister. So our systems at that level has some similarities. And Canada owning Emira, which is light and power, I still don't understand, and this Rick government need to come in. I still don't understand why the shares of the Barbados light and power was sold to Emira, that the government really don't have a say, really, other than through the FTC as to how they are going to govern hear its name, the Barbados Light and Power. But Barbadians don't have stake and control over it. That happens in Canada. So the picture that you have up there with Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, and Mottley, as I said on the show before, the Canadian Prime Ministers often came here. Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre Trudeau, who was also a Prime Minister of Canada, he came here during El Barro's reign. And Canada and Barbados always enjoyed a good relationship. But to unpack that relationship, again, they have shares in Emira. They own two banks in the Barbadian banking system, which is Scotia Bank and First Caribbean Bank. So you're seeing the power that the Canadians are packing in terms of control over the Barbados economy. So one power outage this week from the Canadian Light and Power almost shut down Barbados completely. And if Emira, as a company, decides that they're going to just up and pull out of Barbados, then that leaves the government scrambling to provide adequate electricity for Barbadians. Now, I know you're talking about a digital economy. Now everything is done online. I couldn't even get gas during that power outage. Right? So something needs to be done about the powers that a utility company has, and the same way the FTC has clauses in its bylaws and regulations to govern institutions to stop them from becoming a monopoly. Something should have been put in place to stop the Barbados Light and Power from becoming a monopoly, and not even a monopoly that's locally owned, a foreign-owned monopoly in Barbados. That's not the worst thing. You know how the managers of a banking institution would usually reside in the country? None of the risk managers or none of the people who set the rules and regulations for these Canadian banks live in Barbados. They're all sent from Canada. All of the...
So you're saying all of the top tier, all of the managers that make the decisions, this is for First Caribbean. Is First Caribbean and Scotia?
Yeah.
Right, First Caribbean and Scotia, that they're all Canadians.
Yes. off. And Avinash Prasad made that revelation where we were on a show together, and he said that none of the risk managers are located in Barbados. So what we are having challenges is that these persons don't understand the demographics, be it financial and other reasons, of Barbados. So when they send down the rules and regulations and these new banking rules and regulations, they don't usually fit the Barbadian context. And you saw both Scotiabank and First Caribbean threatening to pull out of Barbados because they already threatened to pull out the other Caribbean countries. And I think it is the case, or some other country that has moved forward with the sale of the Canadian banks from in their country. Right? So we don't speak about Canada as colonizers in the same breath as the UK, but Canada has a greater hold economically on Barbados, much so than the UK.
Someone is saying here that
US are much so than any other colonizer that we had.
One
Because
second,
if the Canadian government say that they're pulling all Canadian investment from Barbados, let the power shut down. Sorry.
Hold that point there. Someone is saying that the Canadian banks are also that there's a Royal Bank of Canada.
Oh yeah, so that'd be 3 banks instead of the 2.
The 3
That's
banks.
correct.
Okay. So right. Okay.
When he's done that, I would just want to mention to you, we talk about Emera. The people that come from Canada. You remember recently there was a case against Emera where the Employment Rights Tribunal awarded the guy some money. He got fired because he spoke up. Apparently, one of the same Canadian managers, a white woman, she was addressing the staff, and when the gentleman was there, he was on his phone doing a little thing, and the woman gave him one kick. And poor fella, but the guy who got fired, he wasn't the fella that got kicked, but he got back and he called off the people off the work and all kind of stuff. Eventually, they fired him, found some bogus reason to fire him. But you know what happened? What hurt me most of all, the fella getting kicked said, she was only trying to get my attention. If you want to get my attention, pat me on my shoulder, you ain't gonna kick me. You know,
well, and that happened at one of these banks?
No, this happened at Emera. And that's what the fella Jack the Inch got fired because he protested when white woman kicked the black fella. So you can understand. Go ahead, Kimar. We can talk about another time.
I tell you.
Prison to fire him then.
Yeah, so Caswell's made my point about he made my point about the colonizers, you know. So we have examples where we still have this colonial type relationship with these large economies, the US, the UK, Canada. I know we're seeking to develop a similar colonial relationship with the Chinese and the IMF and these international banks. What Canada did to Barbados is we had what you call an exempt surplus agreement, where we could have repatriated like the profits and the revenues from your company. If you had a Canadian company based in Barbados, you could have repatriated them tax-free. So Barbados had large sums of Canadian investment coming in, in insurance and in many other areas, international banking services. And when the Canadians extended that exempt surplus arrangement to other countries that had 0 tax rates, 1% tax rates, a whole drove at least $300 million a year in investment left Barbados' shores. And all of these companies, Canadian companies, went and set up in St. Lucia and all the other countries, and Barbados started to lose significant sums of investment. Right? They were in the Canadian Parliament saying that Barbados is a tax haven and that Barbados does not charge the appropriate level of taxation on Canadian investment. And when you check the records, so many Canadian politicians have bank accounts in Barbados. I have shell companies in Barbados that are not doing anything. Just registered companies. You don't got an employee in it really. And they are channeling billions and billions and billions of dollars to these same Canadian banks in Barbados to all parts of the world. And that was the reason why we lost something called correspondent banking. And if you listen to me and Mottley was complaining to Congress again about the fact that the Caribbean is about to lose its correspondent banking relationships.
Mm.
And part of the reason we were losing that is because we don't have our own local indigenous banks. So when she went there, she had to be speaking on behalf of Canadians and Trinidadians because Barbados don't have a bank.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. But isn't it a bit dangerous? You know, I was discussing this with someone today because we were thinking of moving, you know, all of our different ministries and organizations to go over to First Caribbean. And I said to that person today, I said, you know, but we have to be careful because remember what happened with the truckers when the truckers in Canada were protesting. In order to stop them from protesting, what Justin Trudeau did was that they froze their bank accounts. And I'm saying, if this is what they did in Canada, and we have the 3 or 4 most prominent banks are Canadian banks, what could stop them, you know, from going that route with us? Where people like myself, Caswell, and you know, it could be they could easily shut down our bank accounts because of the way how Canada is going. You know,
but no, Marcia. Barbados is even worse. They issued instructions, remember, during the nurses' strike,
yes,
to go on the nurses' account and take off money. So nurses had money in the bank, and then later on the next morning, the man had none. The government of Barbados went on the account and take it off. So when you get a digital ID, it can be even facilitated even more. You don't even gotta go to the banks to get done no more. You will get it done through your ID. Go right ahead,
wow.
put your bank account information on them.
Wow. So we did it here. Somebody said we did it here before Trudeau. And that's why we put those 2 pictures together. Watch what's happening in Canada, and you're gonna see what is happening in what's about to happen in Barbados. Look, go ahead, Kimar. Go ahead.
Yeah, Marcel, is so bad that if you go to Canada right now, and they say to you, I want to see your national ID. I want to see your national ID. And you hand them your old blue ID card. They're saying to you, no, that's not the Barbados ID, so we don't take that. You have to have the digital ID card.
Say that again, because I think we're hearing your dog. I don't think it's my dog. But listen, this is so important. I want you to say that again. If somebody can take care of that dog, because we need to hear what Kimar is saying to us tonight, guys. Repeat that, Kimar Stewart. I think he's gone.
Well, I said that if you go to Canada right now, and they ask you to show your Barbados ID, your national ID, and you take out that blue old ID card that we had before and hand it to the Canadian authorities, they're going to say to you, no, that is not the Barbados ID. The only acceptable Barbados ID is the digital ID, and therefore you can't get anything done whatsoever in Canada if you have that old blue ID card. Right. So you see, by extension, how they're forcing you to have that card. Now, even if you travel overseas, they're saying to you that we don't want that. So how can they go ahead and do something like if the government of Barbados didn't give them permission to do it?
So you're telling me that you're telling me this is my this is when I had a whole lot of hair on my head. This is my ID card, and if I go to Canada with this ID card, Kimar, you are alleging that if I go, they don't want this. Canada does not want this. Canada is asking for the Trident ID. Is that what you're saying to us, Kimar?
Well, you know who
old blue one, and they pull out a book They pull out a book and say to you, and they show you the printouts, the official printouts of the digital ID, and said this is the only one that we accept. We are not accepting that old blue ID that like what Marcia has. They only are accepting the digital ID, so therefore you cannot get whatever you wanted. But you can't even get your own money from a bank down there if you wanted it and a recorded ID. You have to have the digital ID, right?
So we're really connected even stronger to Canada than we really understand, because I could go different places and I could use this ID. I can use this ID in Trinidad. I've used this ID in the US. So you're telling me that in Canada, based on what is happening with Mottley and Trudeau at this time, we can't use this ID. They don't recognize this. And how do you, where did you get this story? How can we verify that this is so? Somebody in the comment section is saying that that it is true that they will not accept it. Interesting. Somebody asking, so why the passport can't work?
Well, you could show the passport. Passport will be acceptable, but I'm speaking specifically to your blue ID. So if you go overseas and you leave your passport and stuff in the house, and you carry only your purse, so say where is your blue ID, and they ask you to show some form of ID when you go to get whatever service, and you show them this one, they would tell you, well, no, we don't recognize that. So I'm saying that this is a real life, real time story that I got from someone. I spoke to someone directly in Canada, a Barbadian, and they were denied entry into space, and the ID was only for verification of the age, because they just wanted to know if you were over 18 or not. There was anything special, but they had a book. They had a book there waiting on you, showing you the exact digital ID that they will accept. And they
So you're
refused. They refused the young lady entry into the place because she had that old blue ID.
So somebody's saying because it's laminated, but remember, I went to Canada before, and this ID was not a problem. This ID, the laminated ID, the official laminated ID that we had, was not a problem. Listen carefully, guys. Listen to what Kimar is saying. He is saying, based on his sources, they took out a book and was able to read from the book to say that because I was in another country already, and they said to me, this can't be the ID because it's laminated. And I called the commissioner, no, the consulate, right? And they just talked to them on the phone, and it was no problem, and they let us go. So I'm saying that in Canada, if there was a problem, they could have gone to the consulate. But the fact that they could take out a book to say that this is not what is accepted, it means that it is more than the laminated. We were using this for years, guys.
You realize what happened there? The government of Barbados has made it known internationally that this is the official ID in Barbados, even though in Barbados they're two. You can use both in Barbados, but they're telling them don't accept it outside. So you see this, people might call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care what you call me. You can see it for yourself. Canada now is saying, taking the Barbados ID, and where would they get information from? You think they get it because they hear it on the 6 o'clock news? No. Barbados would have issued that instructions. I remember when I was an immigration officer, the Canadian authorities held people in Canada because they had the ID number for a woman. But there was a man in front of them. So the Canadian authorities knew the Barbados code and said, and held that person. I was an immigration officer when that happened. Because your ID number has a code in it. I can look at an ID card number and say, this is a woman or this is a man. or that you were born outside of Barbados and you were born inside of Barbados, whatever, because they look at your ID. But the Canadian knew that. So who told them? The government of Barbados. Who told them about this now? The government of Barbados. They didn't just make it up. So
we have a guy in the comment saying that yes, it's true that they do have the book. And yes, they do have the book. But I wanted to go on because there's much more information to share. We spoke about lifetime power, right? But and part of the last government, they announced a deal that they were going to sell the shares of the Barbados National Oil Company. Well, no, let me rephrase that. The government owns the Barbados National Oil Company, and they announced to the public that they were going to sell the shares they have in the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited. This is the oil terminal. That happened under the last government, right? That sale was supposed to be for $100 million only, and the government at the time was saying that they were selling the oil terminal because they wanted $100 million in reserves. And rightfully so, people criticize it and call it rubbish. But when they hear the show, a Canadian Saul wanted to buy those shares. Saul Gas wanted to buy those shares, right? And part of the operations of the Latent Power is to buy fuel and oil and diesel to run the equipment that they have, right? So the Financial Trading Commission did something very well here, and they blocked the bid of Saul to acquire the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited, which is the oil terminal. They blocked that, and they said that if the bid had gone through, it would have created a monopoly type operation in Barbados.
Right, I remember that.
Right, and they want to stop Saul from having the exclusive right of importation of oil products into Barbados. Okay, a couple years later, you hear that Saul was sold out to a Canadian company called Parkland Fuel in a $1.2 billion deal. So if that deal had gone through, a Canadian company named Parkland Fuel would have owned the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited and would have had exclusive rights to all the importation of all oil and diesel and other oil products into Barbados. So you're seeing what's happening here. The Canadians would have owned the Latent Power, which is a significant importer of oil, diesel, and fuel. And then when this deal went through to sell the terminal company, they would have had almost more than a monopoly. You can't go ahead of a monopoly, so you get the point. They would have had more than a monopoly as it relates to the purchase of oil and gas and fuel in Barbados from the Latent Power. So you haven't owned Emira, and then this Canadian company named Parkland Fuel would have owned the oil terminal limited, completely locking off that part of the policy of Barbados. Rubis, which is the competitor for Saul, for the injunction in court to block the sale to Saul. Right? And after the case was heard, or whatever, the deal did not go through. Right? The deal did not go through. So for a country like Barbados, who has a very high fuel import bill, you hear all of our energy ministers, finance ministers, prime ministers bellyache about oil prices and how high oil prices could be. Oil prices got like $150, $60, $70, $80 a barrel. We hear the prime minister talking about oil prices in Ukraine, all of these things, right? So I'm kind of surprised that these, as you know, Saul would have been owned by the Simpsons. I'm kind of surprised that the Simpsons sold out Saul, right? And Rubis is still here battling. And why it is such a concern for me, right? Uh, you know that the government of Barbados, through all of its climate policies, say we want to be the most climate resilient country in the world. And we ran a bar all of these hundreds of millions from the IMF to be climate resilient. But then in the same breath, the Prime Minister approved all drilling off the coast of Barbados. Right?
You're correct.
They, he did approve all drilling. There were two acts. There were two acts in Barbados which govern offshore drilling in Barbados, which is the Offshore Petroleum Taxation Act 2021 and the Offshore Petroleum Act 2007. So all that passed on our first time. When the DLP came in around 2008, it took them approximately 7 years to properly negotiate a license for an Australian company at the time that was called BHP. And BHP were given access to what they called to drill off Carlisle Bay. It was two blocks called Bimsha Block, and I can't remember the name of the other one. And it took that time. So when me and Mottley came in, after saying that they were not interested in drilling, I can remember it clear. They said that they were not going to be drilling any oil, and Barbados is moving over to renewables. And then in the same breath, they approved the oil deal. And then when they asked her at the COP26, which is the same climate conference, to explain why she would have not approved these deals to drill oil off Barbados, given the fact that you are here at a climate conference. And you'll be so shocked to hear the response of our Supreme Leader, Mottley. Mottley said that in defense of her, we have never said we would abandon that which we have, unless there are countries or a country willing to pay us to keep our natural gas in the earth and seabed. So until the international community is prepared to help us finance our way to the net zero emissions, we cannot leave our natural gas in the ground. As he said that we were seeking to do 5 rounds of state to state, which is country to country financing, to be able to finance the drilling of oil offshore Barbados. And on top of that, they're starting to deal with that. Again, I heard you speaking about Wilfred Abrahams early. Up goes Wilfred Abrahams to sign the deal in Trinidad, and the President Samuel Mottley and Keith Rowley in August 2019. Right? And the energy company from Trinidad, again BHP, made some discoveries of gas wells close to Barbados, but from the Trini side. So it's in Trini waters, but the gas wells are close to Barbados. So in the deal that Wilfred Abraham signed, he gave the Trinidadians permission to come into Barbadian waters to drill for oil and gas. And then the oil and gas that's found in Barbados has to be shipped to Trinidad, and then Trinidad would resell us back the same oil and gas.
Oh right? My God.
To end off that particular exercise between Abrahams, the information. Yeah. Right. Then lastly, me and Mottley went on to say that they were getting assistance from the IFC, and the IFC is the private sector arm of the World Bank Group. The same World Bank that she's on the financial chairman committee and the like. She said she was getting permission from them and financing for them and assistance from them as to how they could help Barbados under the different petroleum acts. And a company, they were relying on a company again now, colonizer again from Scotland, to provide them the technical assistance to be able to properly go offshore and drill for this oil.
But you know, Kimar, let me say something here. That it's rather interesting, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, to see Mayor Mottley is, she is the WEF climate, she's a champion. Both of them. You have Trudeau and you have Mottley, and they're pushing this climate change. And she was dressed in all white. You remember all of that. But here she is. She's still doing this drilling on the side. And she's standing up, I tell her this woman, to me, in my estimate, my opinion, they say it's a con and she's a con. That I'm sorry, that's what I see. The woman is she's a con woman. She's a con. Because here she is. No, this lady is flying the flag.
Marsh, you want me to repeat what he said? Want me to repeat what he said when they were asked her, how come you're drilling oil? How come you're supposed to be the climate champion of the world, and still you're seeking to approve the drilling of Barbados? They asked her, and the lady said, "We have never said we can abandon that which we have, unless there are countries or a country willing to pay us to keep our natural gas in the earth." And she said that within the international community, what's your unless they're paying us. So that's probably why.
I want to break it down. So until we get some money, unless you pay us for this, right? Until you pay us, it's not a matter of principle. It's not a matter of principle. We're not thinking about the environment anymore. Okay? So this is con. This is what, to me, this is a con artist. We're not thinking about the environment anymore. That they're beating us and telling us environment. Okay? We're not, but in this instance, though, you have to give her credit in her kindness. She's standing up for Barbados in this instance, right? She never stood up for us when we get into jokes, right? She never stood up for us or anything else from these WEF people. Only this part here. It's quite interesting. Go ahead, Kimar.
So they even put on the Financial Times, and she said that wealthy countries need to try harder to tackle global warming, which would be a death sentence for small islands if temperatures continue to climb. She's saying that to them, we'll still throw in the same breath on approving of drilling deals. Now, I must say here that a lot of this started on the last administration. So, Prime Minister from the Stewart, he would have signed off on the deals initially, and then I could clearly remember me and Mottley rallying and raving against the exploration of oil offshore when she was opposition leader. I can clearly remember it. And now that we've taken on this new climate thing, and this is really I drift back to Light and Power. Light and Power is seeking to buy all of these new turbines and generators and all of this new equipment. And this equipment is supposed to set up the transition away from the old fossil fuels into this new age energy. But they're saying to us that Barbadians have to pay to buy these things for the Light and Power, to set them up, and then turn around and charge you for it. Right? So solar panels, the equipment for wind energy, equipment for geothermal energy to draw energy from the sea. What the government did was to create an almost monopoly in terms of the importation of all this equipment onto one businessman. And you heard me, Mottley came out in the budget and said that she wants solar panels on every house in Barbados. And she's providing incentives, and they're going to pay the people of Barbados. They're going to pay the people of Barbados money to put solar panels on the house, and it's going to be beneficial. But I read an article from Caswell when he was in the Senate, and he took the head off the Light and Power, and he took the head off the government and saying that they're tricking the people, because if they are selling you the light for $42, then the difference in the bill is higher. So they are selling you it, or you're going to pay them or they're going to pay you $42, and then the exchange will be that if it is 42, Let me slow down. If it is $42 for the bill that's gonna come to your house,
Mm.
you end up paying more as opposed to you receiving money into your pocket. So they're gonna say that well the bills are gonna come down, the bills are gonna reduce. That's not so. What you will end up paying now is the difference in between the two charges. So if it is $42 one way, they're paying you $42 to your quote unquote pocket. But when you go to pay this money at Light and Power, however, you gonna have to pay the difference between the bill that is there,
Ah,
the bill that's
uh-huh.
the bill that's coming to your house, and the
Mm-hmm.
amount of money that they're paying you. And the bill
Mm-hmm.
that's coming to your house is going to be substantially more than what the government is paying you. So you ain't getting it free, or you ain't getting it at a reduced price. And
Mm.
most of the money being made is going to go to the persons who own the electricity grid.
Mm. Ha! Which is another thing. Oh
So
boy.
it is a trick. So they're gassing up the light and power, and like I say, Canada being the leading person, Canada being the leading person in this area, they're going to end up paying
Okay, he got stuck again.
Yes, most likely.
Yeah, Kim, are you there? I think you wanted to say something uh, about this what you call these you call these snake oil. You know
Snake,
this woman.
snake oil salesman.
They not snake oil says man. This is this woman. This oh my gosh, my girl. Wait, listen. You see, by the time she get back in there, her behind going full of money. This woman, anywhere somebody said it on there, anywhere the money is, the girl, that woman gone for it. That is something else, Mr. Franklin. This is
I
something else.
wouldn't mind if she went for the money and brought it back and spent it sensibly.
Mm-hmm.
But we're spending it with her her friends and associates. You're giving them big jobs, contracts, and we're not seeing anything that out of this money, you know. And the big joke is that even though we are not seeing any of it, I can't even say my children because my great grandchildren will still be paying back this money in the end. Because this money is not going to be paid off in 10, 15, 20 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I got grandchildren that are 17 years old, so they're going to soon, their children are going to be paying for this thing that my money incurred. And I don't mind borrowing, but borrow for productive purposes. Borrow so that we can use to produce things to help make back that money to pay back. But we're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
borrowing money for consumption. You know, like right. I'll give you an example. We borrow money in Barbados. We got foreign exchange. We boasted, oh, we got so much foreign exchange in the bank. But then Trinidad doesn't have enough foreign exchange. So what happens? Massey has stores in St. Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad, all the other countries in the Caribbean because they bought the business down there. And when Massey orders stuff, they order it for Barbados and then transship the thing. So Barbados is paying foreign exchange to buy goods for Trinidad and St. Lucia and all the other countries. And we're borrowing it. And nobody is doing anything about that. It is not a secret.
Mm. Wow. Let me get Kimar. Yeah, so Kimar, we're gonna Sunday we have to pick this up again because let's take 5 more minutes and then we're gonna take the last 5 minutes to talk about Rachel Lane. All right, so
Yeah,
continue, Kimar. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Remember when Mr. Abrahams was the energy minister? He came in the paper and said that the light and power, they were ending the monopoly that light and power had in Barbados. That was a lie. They didn't end any monopoly. What they did was to turn around and give Emira two fresh licenses to operate in Barbados. So Emira owned all two licenses. So it wasn't breaking any monopoly. What they did was to change the term of use, which is from monopoly to monopsony. The monopoly is when one person control the market, and the monopsony is when the competition is few. Ain't that many, it's still few, but a very few control the market. But that's still it. Is it what is happening now is a monopsony in disguise because Emirates own all of the licenses. So ain't nobody else getting into the field to provide electricity generation for Barbadians. So they trick us, right? But they would come and say these things because they feel people don't understand, or that we have educated people in Barbados who could explain this to the masses, right? But they and Caswell could correct me here. At one point in time, I was told that a former MP in this country, a former minister, his law firm was an agent for the Light and Power.
George,
And that law firm's name is George Walton Payne and Associates.
a company, George Walton Payne and Company.
Yeah, they're a big legal law agents, the lawyers for Light and Power. And you have members of parliament, obviously still very associated with that company, in the cabinet making deals on behalf of the government of Barbados. And at any moment in time, and it was rumored that Mr. Brandon Panani was once a partner in that law firm,
No,
the Attorney General.
He was not only a partner in there, he was the managing partner. And even when he was Attorney General, I, Caswell Franklin, saw him in that office issuing instructions because he went in there to do some business. And I saw him. And he was quarreling with Gregory Nichols because Gregory wasn't doing any work. I was there, I saw it myself. So while he's supposed to be working exclusively for the government of Barbados, he was working for the government, one party there, and working at George Walton Payne and Company. I saw him with my own 2 eyes. So I can speak to it because I saw him.
Yeah.
You know?
So you have,
and that is wrong. When you have legal business, when you have a business, when you become a minister, they give you 90 days or so to wrap up your business. Just as if you're a judge and you become a judge, they give you a time to wrap up your business when you become a judge. No, I don't know if he's still doing it because I haven't been in there for a long time. But you still report for work there almost every day.
Wow.
And go and do the company's business, and then it turns out that they were getting a lot of the international business that came through Barbados. That company was the agents, but the lawyers for them. I'm not going to say things that I don't know, because I will let people come to their own conclusions. Because how come that company was getting more business than anybody else? Because they were the best? Probably. That is why we have a teacher chairing the hearing, because Donnie Carrington used to teach Ellerslie, and then he went to university teaching in there. But he was deputy chairman of the Fair Trading Commission. And they are saying to me now, because one of the partners in George Walton Payne and Company is also the chairman of the Fair Trading Commission, so we're in a conflict of interest. So you have the deputy chairman now, who has no legal training whatsoever, and you can see from his rulings and stuff that he really doesn't have any legal training whatsoever. And he tried to argue law with Tracy Watson, poor fella. And that's the problem we got in Barbados. And nobody don't want to call a spade, but I will do so.
We don't have enough time, but Kimar, I promise you, first I just, Mr. Franklin, isn't it wonderful? This is another thing we need to be proud of in Barbados, is, our young people. Look at this young man. He's 27 years old or 28 years old, and he's about the same age as my son. 28 years old, and who can come and do such research and present this kind of information. Barbados, Mr. Franklin, aren't you proud of him?
Well, there, my first daughter is 38. So I'm
Yeah.
very proud of this young man. I I follow him. He make these posts on Facebook and thing. I follow him. And trust me when I tell you, Kimar, I learn from you. I'm not ashamed to say that, but I learn from you, and I don't know. It is people like you who should be in the house, because we got people in the house right now who can't read and write.
Yeah.
And I'm serious, And I'm making a joke now. We got at least one man in the house who can't read and write, and got someone there that can't read good. So, on behalf of a man this caliber, can't get a foot in. Those fellas can write that. He wrote a book. Those fellas can write an application.
Yeah.
That's
This
what
is his book here, Alternate Views. And you heard what Mr. Franklin. I love this panel because listen, as Kimar was talking and Mr. Franklin, see my book here, I was writing in my book. And Mr. Franklin is saying that he's learned from Kimar. You hear our general. You hear our general. I love this panel. I tell you, what you see is what you get. This is integrity like nothing else, right? And we are proud of Kimar, and we don't celebrate our people enough in Barbados. We're not treating our people well. We're abusing our people, and we don't want to abuse Kimar. I want some of you, if you've not gotten the book, he never asked me to do this. He did not. So don't think he's coming on here to sell books, because we have a way that we like to we love to do these kinds of things. Okay, Trevor Seeley say he bought Kimar's book. Find the book now and buy it, even if you don't read it. It's a support. Read it, you will get more knowledge, because I know that everybody who comes on here, they try to get knowledge, right? But I'm saying to you, go and find this book and buy it. It's on Amazon, isn't it, Kimar? Kimar, if you put the link in our chat, in our private chat, I'm gonna put it in the comment section. Take care of this young man. Take care of him. All right. You see the research he does, and he comes on here. You're gonna learn something from this book. Alternate Views. Okay. Kimar J.D. Stewart. Please, everybody, go out and get this book. I have my website is being done, and this is one of the books I put on there for required reading, right? Because I want to support him. Yeah, I want to support him, and we're not going to kick him like a football like they're doing this young lady Rachel Lane, which you want to close with. We have 2 minutes. Mr. Franklin, what do you think about the idea of us trying to help this young woman?
I will contribute. That's what I think about it. She has children, and the government is suffering her. Now, if the government can't help the opposition, well, that's my position.
Yeah.
So we the opposition. So I'm willing to help. We can't allow people to, like was one you said, fall through the crack. But that's a bad thing, especially when she had a fall, and the government is supposed to take care of the most vulnerable in society. You don't have to take care of the rich people that they're always taking care of. You must take care of the people who can't take care of themselves. That's what government is all about, to protect the most vulnerable. And she is one of the most vulnerable now. And this government writes a letter to her lawyer and says, we don't owe her anything. She went on private property. They had to go on private property because she couldn't pay on the road. She was working on the road, and you didn't even put a chemical toilet off the side of the road so that people can use it. I have a friend who's a contractor, and then he's building houses and stuff. He gets a chemical toilet, and he rents a chemical toilet, and he has a thing, but there's a cabinet amazing and two whatever or something, so, and he's renting a chemical toilet for them, and government got hundreds of people out there walking about the road without so much as a pour. I don't know if you know what a pour is, Marcia.
No.
No, a potty.
A potty.
In Jamaica we say a chimney. A chimney. They don't even give you a chimney, or you say a pour. Okay. I understand what it is.
So I remember I was in the Senate when they were talking about putting this sewage tax on people. I say you got people who use a poor and you want to side with sewage tax. One of the senators, the little young lady, she said, what is a poor? I almost died because she grew up in the upper echelons, so she don't like
So they didn't give Rachel Lynn not even a poll. The woman had to be out in the thing, bending down to pee in the grass. Disgusting. So we Kimar, people are asking, I don't know, put for me where to get the books. Okay. The
Yeah,
link.
just contact me directly at 846-9912. You could get a hard.
846-9912. So you can WhatsApp him as well if you're overseas. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have
If
it
you're
there, guys.
overseas, just type it in on Amazon, alternate views, by Kimar Store, and it will pop up right there for you, and as if you're overseas.
Okay, so they can
But
also get it on Amazon if they type in alternate views on Amazon, and let's you know what? Let's do something for him. Let's do something for this young man, right? You had a young man that broke out of prison. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. Look at what he's doing. This is the brilliance of Barbados. This is the future of Barbados, and we're going to celebrate it. What's your Instagram? Put all your handles, please, in the private chat, and let us. People are asking you for your Instagram and all of that. Okay. This is the number. Write it down. Everybody, save up the money and get the book. We're going to support one another. We want to support. I'm going to remove this now because I'm going to put on this young lady that have 3 children that we need to support, and we need to find out the MP. We're not finishing with this, Mr. Franklin. We're going to keep this, God willing, until Sunday, and so we need to and people, let's, if she gives us, I know she's in touch with you and you are going to try. Rachel, if you're listening, please reach out again to Mr. Stewart, Mr. Franklin. Rachel Lane, if you're listening, or if there's anybody relating to her that's listening and can reach her, tell her to reach out to Mr. Franklin, because we want to make sure we can get the permission that we can include her in the march. We want justice for Rachel Lane. We want justice for Rachel Lane. This is a real life situation, and she wasn't out there stealing. She was working, and they lied that she was not working for them, that she was self-employed. They broke the law. The government broke the law, and so that is what it seems to us. So Rachel Lane, if you get a message, sure, we want on Saturday, September 30th, we want to march on our behalf, and not only that, but we want to collect something, whether it is in kind, just as though we helped the man that was who felt suicidal. People went to his home and they brought money. I know people who paid his water bill for him because that was heavy on his mind, and the person said they will continue to pay it for a couple of months. Let us try to help Rachel Lane. Let's see. General said he will donate. I will donate, right? So guys, let us see what we can do for Rachel Lane, and let it be she doesn't want it, but let her know that she has people that's surrounding her. We're going to find the MP, and we're going to make that MP life miserable. We're going to write letters. We're going to call them out on social media. We're going to push, because we're not going to leave her dying on the side of the road like those people in the Good Samaritan, the earlier ones that passed, the priest and all of these that people that passed and left the man bleeding. Okay, so once again, I know we're at 10:05, but as usual, we're going to give the final word to Mr. Franklin. God bless you, sir. We love you. We love you so much, Mr. Franklin. And we
But
thank you for the way you're serving Barbados. And we pray that you will continue to take care of yourself. Tell your wife we love her and we thank her for loaning you to us because it's a lot of time from your family. And tell her we appreciate her as well. Okay?
I think she's hearing you.
Okay.
Marcia, 3 hours pass so quickly. When you be doing this program, we come on at 7, and you don't get to my stuff yet.
I know.
And I wanted to ask tonight if you know of any people who are senior at BRA whose property values fell drastically for land tax purposes, because that is happening.
So we're going to pick that up on Sunday,
Uh,
and so
and
you tell
yes,
me. I will,
I leave
yeah.
I leave that out there for people to say, well, this is what we're going to talk about Sunday, so that we'll invite some other people, because their taxes and their taxes, property values going up. The only people whose property values are going down are people who are senior employees at BRA, their friends, people who they can get their property sold, and they at a particular price, and the banks want it to sell it cheap. They get the property values lower. Banks and credit unions. We are seeing this happening in Barbados, and I've had enough evidence now. Because one man, he had his property, he had a property apartment complex. The lender, I'm not going to call the name of the lender, decided that they're going to sell it because, and it was valued at $3.1 million. And some person wanted to buy it from him, but then they went and get somebody to lower the value to 1.5. So his property is so, and I also know of a case where a husband and wife were going through a divorce. The husband don't want to pay the wife a certain amount of money because the property value, and his property values miraculously came down. You see these statutory boards that these governments ended up, Brad wanted them corrupt to the core.
So we want to get into that, guys. This is just he is giving you a preview for Sunday. Make sure you come early Sunday, as some of you are coming on early, and we share. Let's get this all the way up to 600. Tonight we're a little over, 400. Let's get this. We were over 400 tonight. We want to get it up to 600. And it would be great if we could get the young lady on as well, Mr. Franklin, and let's see what we can raise for her, how much money we can raise for her. So, Mr. Franklin, so that's what you're going to deal with next show.
I want to talk about that, among other things, but I want to raise that. I left that as a little titillating thing to keep people want to come back, because these are things that are happening in this country. Your property value won't be going up, but certain people won't coming down. And that's corruption, and somebody got to pay for it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin. And someone is asking, what do we do? We first have to get educated, and that's what is happening tonight, guys. Don't let people say we just come on here, we're talking about the problems. We're getting educated. There are many things that we did not know, we're learning. And I believe that once Barbadians are educated about the issues, then we're going to see the action. I really do believe that. And let us continue to brainstorm, think about what are the things that we need to do, and let's put it together. We're going to plan. We're also planning a physical live in Barbados. Sorry for those in the diaspora, we love you, but we will still have it going live for you. But we're going to we're going to work out a location, and one of these Sundays we come together as our think tank, and come up with some solutions. All right. So listen out for that. That is coming up. All right. All right. Yes. And act upon the knowledge, not just gain it. That's what this is all about. Action. All right. So God bless you all so much. I know somebody's saying they wanted to go on for another hour. We can't. We're just going to rest up and we come back to you. No, there is no march tomorrow, but we're hitting the streets on Saturday, September 30th. Remember, all right, Saturday, September 30th, 10 a.m. Massey Car Park. We're going to hit the street. There's no march tomorrow. Tell everybody no march tomorrow. All right, we are getting ready for next week. All right, okay, guys. God bless you. Thank you so much, Kimar. Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin and Mrs. Franklin.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.